Good evening, everyone. Somebody took away the gavel.
I don't know where it is. I can't find it.
You stole it? I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Township of Ocean Board of Adjustment to order. Can we please take a roll call?
Sure. Mr. Ashkenazi?
Here.
Mr. DeLuomo?
Here.
Ms. Beal? Mr. Chamorro?
Here.
Ms. Littman? Here. Mr. Pugielli?
Here.
Mr. Lineski? Mr. Caramanica?
Here.
Vice Chairman DeGennaro?
Here.
And Chairman Paul.
Here. Can we please salute the flag? The notice requirements of the open public meeting law for this meeting have been satisfied. A copy of the notice having been sent to the Asbury Park Press and the Coaster and filed in the office of the Township Clerk. Emergency notice. There are emergency doors, exits through the courtroom doors and 2 exits at the rear of the room. Please no smoking or vaping. No new cases will be started after 9 p.m. this evening and no new testimony taken after 9:30 p.m. In addition, the applicant will be limited to 45 minutes of testimony. All meetings will be video and audio taped and shown on the Township of Ocean's Community Cable Channel, Channel 22 on Fios, and Channel 77 on Cablevision. Please turn your cell phones off. If you must make a call, please leave the room to make a call. Resolutions to be memorialized. We have...
Roshanzamir is separate, but the rest can be together.
Okay, let's start with Michael Roshanzamir, 130 Roselle Avenue, Block 55, Lot 3.
So only 4 can vote, Mr. DeLuomo, Mr. Chamorro, Mr. Pugielli, and Chairman Fuller. So we just need a first and a second from one of those.
I'll first.
I'll second. All in favor?
No, it's gotta be a roll call.
Mr. DeLuomo,
Yes.
Mr. Chamorro,
Yes.
Mr. Pugielli,
Yes.
Chairman Fuller.
Yes. Okay, then we have the remainder on the agenda. Frank and Amy Spinello, 1604 Logan Road, Block 84, Lot 1. Brian Sella, 50 Lynn Drive, Block 1.02, Lot 98. Flora Lax, 240 Overbrook Avenue, Block 22, Lot 34. And Brielle Avenue, LLC, 1304 to 1306 Brielle Avenue, Block 184, Lot 1.02.
So either Mr. Ashkenazi, Mr. Chamorro, Ms. Littman, or Mr. Caramanica.
I'll first.
Second.
Mr. Ashkenazi,
Yes.
Mr. Chamorro,
Yes.
Ms. Littman,
Yes.
and Mr. Caramanica.
Yes.
We have a minutes to be memorialized March 19th, 2026. Same group for that just voted on the last resolutions.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mr. Ashkenazi,
Yes.
Mr. Chamorro,
Yes.
Ms. Littman,
Yes.
and Mr. Caramanica.
Yes.
Okay, we are on to old business. First up, we have 2 Texas Avenue LLC, 219 Lewis Street, Block 17, lots 26 and 44.
That's being carried.
That's being carried. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it says in bold right there. This will be carried to Wednesday, May 27th, 2016, with no new noticing.
Are they noticing or are they not noticing?
Oh, sorry, with new. Ooh, sorry. Let me say that
So they
again
noticed
so it's
for
clear.
tonight,
Tonight.
so they're not gonna notice again. Alright, so there's no new noticing. If,
May 27th?
Wednesday, May 27th, probably because of Memorial Day. That's,
Yeah,
May.
it's usually the third Thursday.
Yes, it's because of
Okay.
some conflicting, some
okay,
Okay, yeah.
alright.
It's been a long day.
Alright, so if anyone's here on that application is not being heard tonight, that's gonna be heard on Wednesday, May 27th. That's a Wednesday rather than a Thursday in this room at 7 p.m. You're not gonna receive any further notice if you receive notice for tonight. So we will see you then. You stay, don't stay, that's up to you. But come back May 27th.
Is anyone here?
I don't think so.
No one's here for it.
Nope.
Okay, next item on the agenda, Township of Ocean 1313 South Roller Road, also known as Block 142, Lot 36 on the Township tax map. That will also be carried to Wednesday, May 27th, 2026, with no further notice to be given.
Alright, so the same notice as before. If you're here for that application, it's not being heard tonight. You need to be in this room on May 27th, 2026. That's a Wednesday, not a Thursday, at 7 p.m. There will be no further notice given.
So people were worried we had a long agenda, but we already knocked off 2, so let's get going. All right. So the first one we'll actually hear tonight is Jeff Barnes, 8 Klein Street, Block 33.13, Lot 3. Mr. Barnes?
I'm looking to do a variance.
But are you Mr. Barnes?
Yes, I'm Mr.
Okay, all right, let me swear you
Oh,
in.
sorry.
Do you swear any testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And just state your name for the record.
Jeff Barnes.
All right, Mr. Barnes, I'm just going to mark in the following exhibits. A1 is going to be the variance application. A2 will be the plan of survey. A3 will be the architectural plans. And then the following board exhibits, Exhibit B1 will be the zoning officer's report. Exhibit B2 will be the board planner's report. And Exhibit B3 will be the board engineer's report. And Mr. Barnes, who's with you?
This is my architect.
And sir, let me just swear you in. Do you swear your testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? And just state your name for the record. Earl Jackson. And Mr. Jackson, you are a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey, and your license is in good standing. Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Barnes, go ahead. Tell us what you're doing.
You have a seat. Get comfortable.
Don't kill me. So I'm looking to do a variance. So I want to do an addition above an existing structure. But the house, when it was built, was already past the existing, so it's approximately 4 feet over, but I'm not going any farther out. I'm just going over the existing structure to build. I'm putting a bathroom and expanding a bedroom up above it.
Okay. Why don't we turn to Mr. Higgins, if we can? You want to let us
me
know
just
what
swear
you...
them in.
Oh.
Do our experts for the evening both swear that any testimony they'll give in this application, any future application for the evening, it will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you both God?
I guess.
Thank you.
Yes, basically, just the non-conforming condition of the site, that, there's nothing to be done about that. And they're just going up and not increasing the magnitude of the setback variance, the rear yard setback variance. So clearly there's a hardship, and they're really not making it any worse other than going vertical. The only other thing is that there's a detached garage on the site that's in a non-conforming location. And what I said is that in the future, if the garage is either significantly modified or if it's replaced, it should be put in a conforming location if possible. If not, then they would have to come back to the board for variance.
Okay. But that garage doesn't have anything to do with this application,
No, it
right,
doesn't.
at the moment, right? So you understand if you're gonna do something, you'd have to come back for that. Okay. Mr. Matlack, do you have any comments?
No, there are no site improvements, it's all to the building, so I don't have any engineering concerns.
Any members of the board have questions? Mark, do you need anything more specifically to?
I don't. If you don't have any questions for Mr. Jackson, then I'm good with the vote based upon Mr. Higgins' testimony.
Do we have any questions from the public? Okay, any comments from the public? All right, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
I'll second.
Mr. Ashkenazi?
Yes.
Mr. DeLamo?
Yes.
Mr. Chimora?
Yes.
Ms. Lippman?
Yes.
Mr. Puccielli?
Yes.
Mr. Caramanica?
Yes.
Vice Chairman DeGenaro?
Yes.
And Chairman Fuller?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Luck.
Maybe you could have stood through that, I guess.
You guys want to pay for it now, too?
Next, we have Joseph Fontana, 17 Cold Indian Springs Road, Block 37.04, Lot 5, in the R3 zone.
Well,
Sir.
Chairman, while the applicant is setting up, I'm going to mark the following exhibits into evidence. Exhibit A1 will be the variance application itself. Exhibit A2 will be the topographic plan. Exhibit A3 will be the grading and drainage plan, and Exhibit A4 will be the architectural plan. We then have the following board exhibits. Exhibit B1 will be the zoning officer's report. Exhibit B2 will be the board planner's report, and Exhibit B3 will be the board engineer's report. And sir, let me just swear you in. Do you swear your testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And just state your name for the record.
Fontana?
All right, thank you, Mr. Fontana. You are the owner of the property, correct?
Correct.
Why don't you tell the board?
I'm looking to add a one-story garage attached right to the existing home. And it also will incorporate like an overhang going into the backyard over the patio.
Okay.
That's about it.
What can you tell us what what rule are you technically breaking that makes you come before us tonight?
I believe there's some setback issues. My architect and my engineer are here, and they can
Okay, great.
describe all the particulars to you if you so wish.
Okay, who do you think should go
We have
first?
Anthony Ercolino,
Very good.
and we got Joe Kashuba.
You hired Ercolino? Look at that.
Yeah.
Don't worry. It's the first time I've ever seen that happen. Once Mr. Ercolino's set, we could swear him in, and then he could
Yep.
give testimony. Okay. Hello, Mr. Ercolino.
Yeah.
There you go, Anthony.
Swearing testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes,
And just state your name for the record.
Anthony Ercolino with Passman Ercolino Architects.
And Mr. Ercolino, you are a licensed architect, state of New Jersey, and your license is in good standing.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
So it's a 1.5 story addition, basically extending the south side of the house. Yeah, extending the south side of the house. I know you have drawings that my site plan is an old one and it shows a circular driveway. That is no longer going to happen. And I'll provide a updated drawing. The engineer's drawing supersedes it. So the addition is for a garage on the south side of the house with some storage space behind it, as well as a covered patio area. Upstairs, there's a loft space or a mezzanine type space up there that we're just extending up over top of the existing roof.
I might be able to speed this up a little bit.
Really?
Yeah,
All right, before we do that though, Mr. Ercolino, so you'll revise, as a condition of approval, you'll revise your plans to remove the circular proposed asphalt driveway from the plans and match up with the engineering?
Actually, I'll just throw it away.
Well, we have it, I mean,
Well, I know, but the engineer's drawing supersedes it, so I won't do a site plan if he's gonna do one.
okay. But your architecturals are still here and it's gonna be exhibit A1, so you gotta give us something that,
Okay.
sheet
I'll do an
A1
updated one for
you know,
you.
is away. Okay.
Go ahead, Jim.
This is the R3 zone, but when you look at the area, first of all, when you look at this application, it looks like there are significant variances. When you look at that area, there's several blocks, there's about 40 to 50 homes in that area, all of which are on 10,000 to 11,000 square foot lots. None of them conform to the R3 requirements. The master plan recommends that that area be rezoned R4. And I can see no reason that that is not gonna happen, because you don't want to make 30 or 40 to 50 homes in an area completely non-conforming, which has been happening for years and it really
Yeah,
shouldn't have been.
yeah.
This application, if it were R4, would be completely conforming. So I just wanted to point that out.
That's great to know. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, your notes say that it, in order to conform with what the garage have to be 7
The
feet.
garage would be a separate issue.
Yeah, okay.
You had notes about the shed and shading or trees or
Shed.
plantings that you needed to be reported.
The shed, yeah, not the garage, the shed. The garage will be conforming.
Okay.
The shed, the existing shed is similar to the garage on the last
Okay.
application.
Okay.
But, you know, the application as presented, if this were R4, would be completely conforming.
Including the shed?
What?
Including the shed?
Well, no, not included. Well, the shed's really not affected by the application.
But it would be a non-conforming, it's a
Yeah, still
non-conforming structure.
Still non-conforming.
So it's the same thing that we always say, that if that shed comes down, it's gotta be moved to a conforming area.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
But your letter says some additional small ground coverings or lower level plantings could be provided to increase. Is that something you're?
Yeah, they could do that. It doesn't, it's not, I don't think it's essential, but it would help with the appearance of it.
Okay. You follow all that, sir?
Yep.
So your shed's not part of the application, but he's pointing out if you're to put something new there, it would be non-conforming,
Yeah,
so.
have to be moved, sure.
Yeah, but if you're gonna come back to us, put some plantings around it, make it look nicer, and it'll probably be easier to approve. if that day ever comes. Anybody have any questions for the applicant or for Mr. Urcolino?
We have no appliances in the garage.
Appliances? No, no.
All good.
Any questions? Any questions from the public? Mr. Matlick, I didn't ask you, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So the applicant has made a few separate submissions. I'm on review letter number 4. The previous comments from my review letters have all been addressed, so I don't have any problems with the
Okay.
application.
So they don't have to get back to you on anything at this point?
Nope.
Okay. All right, well, we gotta vote. You never know what'll happen. So no members of the public have any questions? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Anyone make a motion?
I'll move for positive resolution.
Second.
Mr. Ashkenazi?
Yes.
Mr. Delomo?
Yes.
Mr. Chimora?
Yes.
Ms. Lippman?
Yes.
Mr. Fujielli?
Yes.
Vice Chairman DeGenaro?
Yes.
Chairman Fuller?
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Next up is Abraham Benatar, 517 Laurel Avenue, Block 68, Lot 7 in the R5 zone.
Remind me every month. I know that I don't have to. Doesn't have
Attorney for the applicant, not on the
She's so
agenda.
cute.
Okay.
Every time.
I don't think we know.
It's why she put me over here.
Ms. Krimko, how are you?
Shall I introduce myself?
Yes, please.
Jennifer Krimko on behalf of the applicant. Just so I'll give you a high level like I usually do, then we'll move some things. We have an undersized lot, and what we are proposing to do is construct a new home and new improvements. We are eliminating some nonconformities with regard to the existing house and structures, and we're seeking some minor nonconformities with regard to the new. The house itself, meaning the box or the volume, fully conforms. The issues we have here are the steps leading to the house and some window wells. Otherwise, the house fully conforms, but because of the smallness of the lot and some of the improvements that we're hoping to put on here, we need some setback relief for accessory structures. So I will sit down and let Mark accept service and move some things into evidence, and then I will do the same.
Okay, so Exhibit A1 will be the variance application, Exhibit A2 will be the boundary and topographic survey, Exhibit A3 will be the architectural plan, Exhibit A4 will be the plot plan. Then the board exhibits will be Exhibit B1, which is the zoning officer's report, Exhibit B2 will be the board planner's report, and Exhibit B3 will be board engineer's report.
Thank you, and I just have 2 additional exhibits, if my trusty assistant over here, otherwise known as a licensed professional engineer planner. A5 is a neighborhood exhibit of today's date.
It's an aerial.
Yep. And I'm gonna pass them out after I mark both. And A6 is a plot plan exhibit. Oh, thanks. I usually have to get up. And again, with today's date, both prepared by Insight Engineering.
Okay.
Follow behind you. Okay, so if I could have Pat sworn.
Mr. Wood, do you swear any testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And just state your name for the record.
Patrick Ward, WARD with Inside Engineering.
And are you testifying in 2 capacities tonight?
Yes, professional engineer and professional planner.
And both licenses are in good standing with the state of New Jersey at this time?
Yes, they are.
Thank you.
What we do with Pat is have him go through his engineering first and do But this is all kind of integral, and I don't think that there's very much architecture related to it. I'll just have him go through all of his testimony, and then I'll have the architect if there's questions.
Great.
Okay, go ahead, Pat,
Ready?
take it away.
Cool, if I can have that, Mike.
Oh, sorry, I always.
Okay, so subject property is 517 Laurel Avenue, Block 68, Lot 6, and we're in the R5 zoning district. So the applicant seeking approval to demolish all existing site improvements to construct a new 2.5-story dwelling, a driveway, and a rear yard pool and patio. This lot is significantly undersized in area and width, and both variances are proposed as part of this application. That was me. Nope. Mr. Ashkenazi. So first I'll refer to A2, which is the survey, just to discuss existing conditions briefly. So here's the property. North is up. There are a couple of structures on here. One, starting with the existing dwelling, two-story dwelling. As you can see, it's tucked into the back right corner of the property, very much in a non-conforming location. We have about a 1 foot setback at the rear and just over 1 foot on the right side. There's an existing detached garage on the property, and then there's 3 sheds also on the property, all in non-conforming locations. There's a long driveway here, as you can see, that gets all the way to the garage at the rear. Driveway is non-compliant in terms of setback, and there's also a front large wood deck on the property. So we're seeking we want to remove all site improvements and thereby eliminating all existing nonconformities related to those structures. So what we're proposing, and this is A6, the rendering.
Patrick, can I pause you just right there?
Absolutely.
Sorry. So the existing dwelling is the back right corner of the property?
Yes, two-story dwelling,
Right,
basically
okay.
on the very close to the setback, within about a foot.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask you. How far away from the setback is it currently?
Yeah, and I'll get into each of the existing nonconformities, but it's
Okay.
1 foot from the rear and about a
Yep,
little
right.
less than a foot and a half on the right.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so what we're proposing here is a new 2.5-story dwelling. Proposing a new driveway in the front yard, a new rear deck, pool, and spa. Unique part about what we're proposing here, really for drainage and aesthetic purposes, and we'll get into this in a little bit. We're seeking to raise the majority of the property by using a short 2-foot retaining wall around the perimeter. And you can see that it's represented on our plan as a gray line. It's also on the exhibit here as well. So there are portions of the front yard that will exceed the maximum 2-foot grade change. The entire rear yard and sides of the home are not crossing that threshold, but the maximum in the front yard is about 3 feet.
And can you just point out where and give us an approximation of like what percentage you would say?
Yeah, so there's a very small sliver along the front where the front retaining wall is. I would say it's about 5 feet from the front property line.
But the wall is still only 2 feet high and fully conforming. It's
Right.
just we have to raise the grade a little more than 2 feet.
Correct. And then just a small area by the front steps.
Okay. But otherwise, the wall, the grade change, everything's fully conforming.
Yes, and then elsewhere everything's within the 2 feet.
Okay.
So really, the rear yard grade change and increase, in my opinion, was also done for drainage purposes. So the property today is very flat. So from the rear to the back, or rear to the front, very flat. So in order to continue the aesthetic across the entire property, we're proposing also to raise the front yard slightly with that 2-foot retaining wall. We are just for context, the ordinance does allow 4-foot fences in the front yard. This wall will be half that height. A fence is proposed to enclose the rear yard because we have a pool. The fence is designed so that the combined height of the fence and the wall does not exceed 6 feet in any location, which is compliant with the ordinance. There is a gap shown around the perimeter of the property between the wall and the property line. This
When
was
you say a gap, let me phrase it a little differently because I was confused till our call today.
Mhm.
The wall set back from the property line
yes,
is essentially what you mean.
by about 18 inches, and the reason for that is drainage. If you built a wall,
Well, before we talk about the wall, how does the neighbors currently drain towards our property, correct?
correct, yes. So I said we're relatively flat, particularly towards our rear. We receive runoff from the neighboring properties. They sit a little bit higher from us.
So if we put the wall right on the property line, the water would pool on their property and they wouldn't be able to have the same flow of water that they have today.
Correct. So you're effectively damming the water.
Okay, so what are we doing as a solution?
So 2 things. One, on the sides, we have that offset, that setback, to allow for drainage to continue to the front. At the rear, water is coming towards the rear of the property. So in order to avoid damming it, we actually have pipe penetrations in the wall that will receive water. Usually pipe penetrations spill water out. This will receive. And what's going to end up happening is, in addition to collecting runoff from the property, that all the improvements we're proposing, we're receiving that water, and ultimately we were discharging it at a new pipe penetration in the driveway out to the right of way.
So
So
essentially, the water from the neighbors that were coming onto our property will still come onto our property, it just won't affect our property, it'll go through the piping.
right, goal is to send it through the property to the right of way of Laurel Avenue, and in addition, everything from our proposed improvements will also head to the street.
How will that area be, the surface be treated, and how will it be maintained? That was my concern.
Within the setback,
Within the 1.5 feet.
it was the
More than 1.5 feet, how do you access it to maintain it?
So the applicant's desire is to landscape that with some sort of seagrass or something like that, Mr. Higgins.
That should be shown on the plan.
Okay.
And that's fine, yeah.
But also in the event that it was going to be grass, because the wall is so low and it's so close, that's something that a weed whacker or something could actually get to from the wall. It's only 2 feet higher.
Yeah, but portions of the wall have a fence on top.
That
So
is
it's gonna be 6
that is a
feet.
great point, Jim.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So-
Well, 2 things we'll do. 1, we'll show the landscaping should it be approved, and 2, we'll talk about putting a gate in the appropriate place for access if need be.
Yes.
How's that
Agreed.
draining? You're describing the piping is draining out to Laurel Avenue?
Correct.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
there a flooding problem at all on Laurel Avenue now?
Not that I'm aware of within the street, no.
And where is, the town drain located?
I don't have that answer.
Where's my architect who'll give me the right term? Like,
Oh, like any municipal inlet?
the storm basin, yes.
Sewer.
The storm sewer. So, I don't have the precise location of the nearest inlet. It's not at the intersection with Staffa. I don't know if there's one at South Edgemere Drive. I believe, and I can look at this and get back to the board in a minute. I believe everything drains this way towards the east, but I can check that.
Thanks, Pat.
It's a good question.
You're saying the water from the neighbor's property is still gonna come onto this property, but it's on the outside of a 2-foot wall.
Right.
And it's still gonna go into Laurel Avenue.
Yes, so the way this is designed, these pipe penetrations at the rear will receive it, and everything's sloped towards a discharge point within our driveway, and then we'll go across the
Is
apron.
it only to the back neighbor or to the sides as well?
There's 3 collection points, mainly along the rear line. The sides here and here are relatively even with where we are today, so we're not receiving,
Well, today.
No, but we're
not where we're proposed, yeah,
right,
the existing.
but because we're keeping the wall in, it's going to allow the water to continue to flow towards the street as it does today.
Yeah.
But Pat, I have a question with regard to Ms. Littman's question. We don't need a coverage variance, right?
We do not.
Okay, so the water that's going there is water that would go there anyway, whether it was piped or not piped.
Correct.
So the runoff is not getting greater than it is today?
Well, it'll be greater than it is today, just not more greater than what the ordinance would allow us to put here.
Now the way it sits, is that probably flood out because of the runoff?
Not that I'm aware. I don't believe the structures at the rear there have any damage. I mean, they're right on the property line. I don't know if that has any. I can't speak for what's going on below the ground in like the basement or crawl space of those buildings, but I don't believe so.
So, Ms. Krimko, what you just said doesn't sit right with me, right?
Okay.
So today, the water goes from the neighbor behind, and it goes towards Laurel Avenue.
Right.
But it's at ground level, and it's got to go across a whole property before it actually hits Laurel Avenue.
Correct.
This is going to take the water that would have gone on to the applicant's property and basically give it an express pass all the way to Laurel Avenue.
That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
and
Yeah.
John, I'm sorry, and Mr. Chair, I wasn't inferring that it wasn't gonna be going in a more
Yeah.
concentrated fashion. I said it was getting there anyway, whether, through that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
again,
But does it get there anyway?
well, at
I
some-
mean, because-
Ultimately, yes.
But depending on how much water is coming down, it's going to
Doesn't
be
it
absorbed into the
dissipate into
ground.
the ground?
Excuse me? Sorry.
As it goes across the property, isn't it again?
Well,
absorbed
so
into the ground?
any lawn, yes, will retain some water, but that not all of it.
But now you're basically taking anything that's going to be absorbed into the ground and putting it in pipes and giving an express route straight to the street.
And to address that concern, we can attenuate some of that runoff and slow it down. We have the ability to do that.
Or if we know where like the inlet is over there, it's not. I'm not trying to I'm dismissing the idea because it's probably a good idea in the long run. But just what happens to the water then is going to be important to us.
Perhaps the suggestion is, and I'm gonna not use such engineer speak and put it in English. Perhaps we can put in some dry wells to retain the water so it's not coming out faster than it is, so the same water they can be infiltrated into the ground, so really there would be no difference, because either it's gonna infiltrate through the grass or it's gonna infiltrate the dry well.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I was gonna recommend, maybe some perforated pipe with some stone, similar to a dry well, along that pipe run. Essentially, I agree with what Mr. Ward's saying. When it rains, the first rainfall gets soaked into the ground. Once the ground gets saturated, that's when you get your runoff.
Yeah. Okay.
So any rain event that happens. So whether it's happening in the existing condition or in the proposed, that's the situation. They are below the maximum impervious coverage, so there's no variance required for that. But I do understand the board's concerns with just taking all that water and piping it directly to the street. So I think a recharge system like that perforated pipe and stone is an option.
We would, and again, if the board would approve this, we would agree to that condition, and we would work with Ben to make sure that it's not going to have the concern that you had with regard to the
Mr.
concentrated
Malvac,
water.
what works better, the dry well system that Ms. Grimko was describing, or the perforated pipe?
They're essentially the same.
I can tell you the perforated, he's trying not to say, the perforated pipe will work better, because the dry well can fill up and go over, but since the pipe is the entire length of the property, it has more area to infiltrate. But thank you.
Why are you afraid to say that?
Being humble.
Because dry wells are cheaper.
Because we agreed to the pipe, so it didn't matter.
So is the purpose of the wall, is it aesthetic, or are you doing it for the drainage purpose?
The answer is both. From my perspective, it's a drainage feature, right? It's really meant to.
Who drew it first, the architect or you?
I did not draw it first.
Okay, so it's aesthetic.
Yeah. Well, I said that's what my response is both. But from my
So it's
perspective,
an architectural design, and you're finding a way to get the water away because this wall is here.
we would have to raise the rear property anyway, to get the runoff to. Now, the existing condition aside, right? Because I think it's a relatively flat property. If we proposed that today, and that result was what you see on the survey, it wouldn't be approved by a reviewing engineer. We wouldn't bless it either, because the slopes aren't enough to get out to today's standards, we'll say. So no matter what, we would have to raise the rear yard to encourage the runoff to not go to any neighbors, even though the rear is heading our way. We would still have to get it to be directed at least 2% by sheet flow towards the street. So we're raising it anyway. The wall, that's why I say it's both, right? Yes, there is it is an aesthetic element, but we would have to raise the rear yard anyway.
So
We normally do that for most.
and you're collecting the water on the backside, underground, you're running it underground, and then discharging it above ground at the front of the property.
Correct. And again, like the wall, yes, the wall is proposed, but almost all of the single family infill plot plan zoning plans that we do, we try to encourage the runoff to go to the street, not any neighbors, because that's what we want to do. If we have a situation, if we didn't have the wall, we would still have to collect the runoff from the neighbor
And still pipe it.
along the property line with a little inlet. It might be lower than our proposed inlets by the patio, and get it to the street. So we would still, the net is that we would still do the same thing we're
It
doing.
would be the same drainage system.
Right.
But part of the, if you don't have the wall, correct me if I'm wrong, if we tried to do a gentle slope to raise it and then slope back down onto the neighbors, which we could do, there's no opportunity to necessarily get that 18-inch area to get all the water in there. So this is actually by making, and then it gives us a flat yard and it achieves the same thing. So it's not creating more runoff, it's just a different way to collect it.
Yeah, I get it. But you could collect the water without the wall being there.
We could, but
But I'm just saying, this is how you're choosing to, I get it,
Right.
this is how you're choosing
Yeah,
to
of
do
course
it.
it could be done, yes.
Yeah.
So, this wall, is it considered a fence? I mean, cause that's what we're saying, is the fence, this wall is on the property line, and we're saying a 4-foot fence is allowed along the
There-
property line.
Your ordinance says that you can have a maximum height of 6 feet of wall and fence combined.
Okay, so this wall
It's a
is
2
acceptable by
Yes.
our ordinance.
Also, Mr. DeGenero, it's a 2-foot wall. It's not 4 feet.
I got it. No, I know. I said you could have a 4-foot wall. What was said?
Correct.
And I know it's still only
Oh,
2
yeah,
feet.
yeah, yes, we could have
I
a-
agree with what you're
We
saying.
could have a 4-foot solid wall, and so we have a 2, and then just the fence on top.
Yeah, I get
And
it.
that's a good question because there's a the back corner has a 6-foot fence where there's no wall, and then where there is a wall, the fence changes to a 4-foot fence because it's a 2-foot wall with a 4-foot on top.
So
Because
it's
that's the
6 foot.
maximum they can have. So they're complying with the ordinance that way.
Right, and also, Mr. DeGenero, except in those very 2 small spots in the front, the walls and the wall and everything we're doing could be done as of right with the current house, because we're less than the 2 feet.
Right.
So really, the only question, obviously getting the drainage out is a big question for the
Yeah.
board. But the idea of the aesthetic, that's really for the client to decide, as long as we're not creating any variances. And again, there are none in the back where that wall is, and we're just continuing the wall to kind of create a flat driveway that's kind of dug out into the yard, as you'll see.
Yeah, my question was about if the wall is allowed, and it's allowed. So that's what I was asking. And then on the inside of the wall, you're essentially grass, other than it looks like some paver areas. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, mainly grass. There's some paver, stepping stones. There's a deck which we'll get into in a moment. But yeah. Okay.
Wait, any other questions before we go on?
Yeah, I just
That
wanted
was
to
just a quick question I had.
Sure.
So thank you. No, that was.
Oh, that was it. Okay.
Like a half hour ago.
And just to put just one more thing, Mr. Matlack had a couple of technical stormwater comments. Obviously, with the agreement to put in the perforated pipe, we'll address his pipe capacity calculations and all that in his memo. No issues with that.
And I agree with the plan and concept. It just needs a little more detail to verify that the pipe is the sufficient size. But other than that, I don't have any problem with it.
Thank you. We are proposing mechanical equipment on the right side of the property here. We have ACs and pool equipment, and also a window well for the basement. We are proposing to remove one tree. It does not require replacement, but we are going to propose 2 street trees at the front of the property for streetscape purposes. The limits of the dwelling, the pool, the patio, the driveway, excuse me, the coverages all comply, is what I wanted to say there, in that respect. So I'm going to get into the proposed variance relief in a moment. What I would like to do is kind of step through point by point the existing non-conforming conditions and the how non-conforming some of the items are for context purposes. So lot area is 5,000 square feet, where 7,500 square feet is required, so we're 2/3 of what's required. Lot width, same thing, 50 feet in width, where 75 feet is required. The area and width are not changing. The rear yard setback is 0.7 feet to the home, which is 2 stories, where 30 feet is required. That condition's being eliminated. The side yard setback of the home is 1.3 feet, where 7.5 feet is required, and we're significantly improving that with the construction of the new home. The setback nonconformities with the garage and all 3 sheds, they're all in nonconforming locations, are all eliminated, and the driveway setback does not comply, 0 feet where 5 feet is required, and we're going to eliminate that and propose a compliant driveway as part of this application. So in terms of the variance relief, again back to A6 for reference, start with the front yard setback. There's an architectural feature across the front of the home, across the roof and down each side, and the front steps that require front yard setback relief. So we're at 28.33 feet to the front facade feature and 25.24 feet to the uncovered entry steps.
And I know that the architect is here, just to explain. You know how there's an overhang usually off the top by the roof? that overhang extends down to kind of frame the house. That's the architecture.
That's the feature.
And
Yep.
the architect will come, but I just, in case it was confusing.
So
Just to clarify, the overhang itself is 2 feet. So that's exempted from the front yard setback requirement. I misread the plans. I thought the overhang was the second floor overhanging the front of the building, but it's not. So the only elements in the front that violate the front yard setback are those 2 little 2-foot extensions that you see in gray on the plan on either side of the building. All the rest of the front facade of the building complies.
and with that, yeah, the front facade is beyond the 30-foot setback.
So the house, like I said at the beginning, the house fully complies. And again, we didn't know, Jim, whether or not you considered the eave on the side as a feature, but if it does, then yes, that fully complies, and it's only the 2 steps, which are about a foot
Right.
above grade.
Right, uncovered entry steps at the front there. The minimum side yard setback, so on the left side of the home, we have 6.58 feet to the uncovered side steps, 5.17 feet to the window well on the right side, where 7.5 feet is required. The building facade is at 9 feet on either side, which conforms.
Alright, so we exceed the setbacks, we just have those at grade.
Right, again,
Intrusions.
the little accessory intrusions.
Right.
The minimum combined are both side yard setback here. It's 11.75 when measured, considering the window well on the east and the steps on the west side, where 15 feet is required.
But the combined for the house, which is what would be seen from the street and would affect the rhythm of the street, is actually 18 feet, which exceeds.
17 and a half, yeah.
Okay, sorry,
Yep,
17
no, that's
and
okay.
a half.
Right, which exceeds the 15. We are proposing a rear deck. There, to the bottom of the step is a 9-foot rear yard setback where 10 feet is required. To the side, the right side is 2.25 feet where 10 feet is required. You can see on the aerial, it's immediately adjacent to neighboring garage, which is about equally set back from the shared property line. There's a driveway on that side.
So it's up, just to be clear, it doesn't extend really past the garage.
No.
It's up against the wall of a garage and essentially no impact on that neighbor.
Right, that garage sits at a higher elevation.
Right, and it's actually further than where the house was.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yep. The side yard setback for the AC units and the pool equipment, we have 5 feet to the air conditioners and 4.03 feet to the pool equipment where 10 feet is required. Again, that's on the right side there.
And we talked at length about.
And we talked about the grade change and where that is.
And also, Jim, on your report, you identified the pool setback as a variance, but it's not, it's actually 10 feet to the water.
It's 10 feet to the water, yeah.
I just want to clarify that.
Right, okay.
Okay,
Is the deck, wood?
Yes. Open below.
Open door.
Yeah.
My report indicated that there was a 5-foot grade change. I didn't see a detail for the deck, so I wasn't sure if that was built up patio or open below. But if it's open below, then that doesn't apply. But they did testify previously to the 2-foot grade change in the front.
okay. So, Pat, from a planning perspective, let's jump in. How do you justify these variances?
Okay, so in my opinion, the requested side yard setbacks, and I'll list off those features for the window well, the stairs on the left side, the combined setback of those, the air conditioners, the pool equipment, and the deck can be analyzed as C1 hardship variances directly related to the narrowness of the lot. The lot width limits the extent to which this property could be developed by right. The 2 other variances, the front yard setback and the grade change, can be analyzed under the flexible C2 criteria. So the front yard setback is measured, in this case,
Stairs.
to the stairs, which is really an uncovered, very small at-grade projection from the house. The grade change in the front yard, as I noted previously, is proposed to carry the aesthetics from the rear yard to the front. The rear yard conforming grading, which was done also to provide an effective drainage design, as we discussed.
But, and aesthetics, Mr. DeGenero.
And aesthetics, yep. Again, for point of reference, the ordinance does permit 4-foot fences in the front yard, so visually the proposed wall is half the height of that and won't take away from the streetscape. In my opinion, purpose I of the municipal land use law is advanced here, promoting a desirable visual environment. Both variances are tied to site aesthetics and a result of our goal to provide a cohesive architectural vision for the property at both its front and rear. The wall and the accompanying grade change is intended to complement the architecture of the home. As for the flexible C2, we need to identify a minimum of one purpose of the MLUL, and in my opinion, purpose I is the one that is advanced. When we look at the negative criteria, we must determine if any of the relief sought has an impact on the public or neighboring properties, and we'll start with the public, and that's really a public view shed. I see limited impact. So the front stairs at grade, uncovered, has no impact on the streetscape. The grade change as a result of the 2-foot retaining wall, in my opinion, has no impact on the streetscape either. And again, I say this because the ordinance does allow for a 4-foot fence in the same location.
4-foot fence or wall.
Or a wall or plantings, right? Along that front property line.
Solid 3 foot.
3 foot, I'm sorry, I apologize. Solid 3 foot,
Yeah.
open 4 foot.
Yeah,
Put a
But-
4 foot hedge.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, 4-foot hedge, yes. Again, the wall is intended to carry through the aesthetics of the wall in the rear, and also for drainage purposes and to complement the architecture of the home. Side yard setbacks for the stairs on the left side, the window well on the right side, and the mechanicals have no impact on the public, in my opinion. As
Speaking of that, and I just want to point out, we talked about landscaping. We would also agree to put some landscaping adjacent to those mechanicals.
yes,
To either a solid fence or landscaping. Right.
You consider putting
Of course.
a hedge
I-
along there.
I think a solid fence
I think a solid fence
might
is
be
better.
better in that area.
Thinking the water element, the hedge might help absorb the water.
There's not going to be a water element because it's all going to be piped underground and soaked underground.
But there always is a little.
I would do both.
Is the pool compliant fence going to be solid?
No.
Probably not in the back, no. But it could be.
I think it wants to be, at least on the right-hand side where you're bordering that neighbor's property.
Where,
You're-
yeah, where the deck is.
Where the
for
deck
the
is, you're
neighbor's
2 feet
property.
away
That's
from
what I
their
was
property line and you have an open fence.
I don't know that we're going to be able to put a fence. Well, we're gonna have to.
You
be
show
able
a
to put
fence.
there. Right, right,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking out
Yeah.
loud for a second. When you have a solid fence in that area, there's gonna be maintenance on the other side potentially, and the problem is their garage is almost up against the property line.
Maybe the deck needs to be pulled back then.
Yeah, well. So,
but to address yes, we will screen it. The mechanicals on this right side, something solid, I think is where we,
Well, that's what Ms. Krimko said. I heard board members say they wanted plantings also.
I'm thinking plantings, if you're doing a fence, in addition, I just think
Yeah, we could-
anything to help absorb water is a good.
I think we could do both.
we could certainly do both, and in the event that the client opts for an open fence, we could do a solid enclosure around the actual mechanicals.
Oh, yeah, right.
And then that
Do
way,
that all the time.
that way it's covered.
So, back to the side yard setbacks and public impact. In my opinion, those features will not be perceptible from the street view shed. Stairs are uncovered, the window well is going to be built at grade, and the mechanicals are proposed at existing grade. And that's one thing actually I missed in my initial testimony. We said we're raising this front portion of the yard. We're stepping down along this right side of the home. So right here, this will be at existing grade, really because we didn't want to elevate those features any higher than they needed to be since we were proposing them on the side, trying to mitigate that impact. Further, with the proposal of the solid fence and landscaping, will further mitigate any impact.
And just to address, Pat, I think it was a suggestion about cutting back the deck. Of course, you could always reduce something to avoid the variance, but our lot, I don't wanna use the word enjoys, but our lot,
Can I offer this alternative solution? Rather than cutting back the deck,
Slide it
if you
over.
were to move
That's
the
what I was gonna say.
pool and everything just over 2 to 3 feet,
That's what I was
looks
gonna
like
say.
there's room to do. Then you would have 4 to 5 feet along the property line, it could be maintained, you could have an open fence.
we definitely talked about that, and I think that it was just, again, that's an option. The intention was, since that's up against that wall anyway, and this property has, I'm gonna say the burden of having a structure right up against the property line, they kind of wanted to create that little corner with the deck up against it for some privacy over there. So, again, that other area, that's really the yard area, they wanted to keep that open. We could move it over. We think it's a better zoning alternative here because there's no impact on anyone, because the setback is just to an existing structure almost at the property line. So it definitely is a better alternative argument in this case, because nobody's gonna see it as it's tucked in back behind that garage.
How would it be if it's moved over the 4 or 5
If you move to the west, what would the setbacks be then on the side?
Well, it's actually, I'm looking here now, and because it's so faint, there is a fence, 6-foot-high fence on the adjacent property that runs back, right back to the end of the property line. So you would have a 6-foot-high fence there.
So
It's
there's-
a wood fence on the neighbor's property.
We're
And it's right on the just about right on the property line.
and their garage is right on the other side. So again, could it be eliminated? It could by shifting everything around. Again, a lot went into the aesthetic of this house. That's why they were asking for the variance for it, recognizing that there really is no impact on anybody from it.
But who's the impact? What negative impact is created by moving it over? Like Jim
I didn't
said?
suggest there was. I said the difference was the aesthetic.
And
We're
the only one who cares about the aesthetic is your client.
Correct, which is why we're putting it forward.
No, I understand that. I'm not begrudging you that option, but it's certainly not being done for the betterment of the community where the pool is. It's being done for the betterment of your client where
Correct.
the pool is.
Correct.
And you could eliminate the variance by shifting the pool over
Well,
without negatively impacting anyone other than your client.
I don't know that we can eliminate it entirely.
You
We can make it
improve it.
better.
You can make it better.
I don't know what anybody
And I'm not
else's
saying you
take
should do
is,
it or
but
not do it. I'm just pointing
I
it
think it
out.
should be moved over. That's just my personal opinion. I mean,
I agree.
God forbid in the future they want to take down that fence, knock down that garage. It's going to be, it's going to be
Nice.
open.
Yes, there is.
I know what fights to fight, and this is not one of them. So despite the fact that my client worked very hard with the architect to come up with the ideal aesthetic, we will move it over. And can we move it over and comply with the 10 on the right side? I don't think so.
No, I mean because we have a side yard, principal side yard of 7.5. I was going to suggest we're getting it to a 5-foot setback, which would match the deck height.
I don't care personally. But
I mean, I think that's I don't want to do is that okay with the board? I don't know if that's appropriate, but.
I think when you look at this, the side setback is 7.5 feet. To have the accessory be more than that, I don't think that's reasonable. 7.5 feet maybe could be done, maybe 5 feet, as long as there's room to maintain the area between the deck and the property line.
Right, and
But
remember, it'll also be in line with the landscaping and the other structures on the side, so really it will be it'll all go in line.
So, just be very clear, how far are we shifting it over?
We're proposing 5 feet.
So you're gonna shift it 5 feet?
No, total.
The
Total
new
5.
setback to the deck will
The
be
setback will be 5.
And that aligns essentially with the equipment then.
Yes.
Yes.
That makes sense.
I got a question. You said the equipment is gonna be at current grade.
Yes.
Okay, so, and you're raising the back and you're raising the front. So is the property gonna be like
Drop.
Not raising the
No, there's going to be step downs from this wall, right? This is the area where we're not.
Mr. Ashkenazi, it's essentially gonna be a well to keep the
It's like a
equipment lower, so we're not propping it up.
He's got a wall.
It's like a sunken area on the side, but
Okay.
yeah, not a belly.
And it's essentially level with the adjacent property.
Correct. Yeah. Let me see where I was here. So, I mean, now with what was just discussed and offered to the board, when reviewing neighborhood impacts, and some of this was already touched upon, as you can even looking at the existing survey, there's like a cluster of buildings along this rear property line, including what exists today on our property. That also exists on neighboring properties. I mean, on the west here, on lot 7, portion of the home is very close to our property line and their rear property line. There's a shed immediately to our rear. There's a garage at the northeast direction. Yep. And then there's the garage we've been talking about immediately to our east. So there's already impact, and there was more impact from what we have there today. We're improving that. In my opinion, with the mitigation that I've offered, I think we're limiting any impact here. I think the equipment is going to be mitigated by the solid fence and the landscaping. I think shifting the deck over and sliding everything over is a much better solution. The uncovered stairs on the west side, as I've said, small encroachment, uncovered, no impact.
But most most importantly, Pat,
Mhm.
the impacts of what we're proposing is far less than the impacts of those existing nonconformities almost a foot from the property line.
Right. It's a significant reduction in impact from today.
And importantly, the massing of the house and, you know, all of that all complies, the building coverage complies, the height complies, everything else complies.
Right. Building coverage, lot coverage, the setbacks to the facade of the building, and the height. Yes, they all.
And I
comply.
don't know if Jim did a revised report when we resubmitted, but he had suggested we widen the driveway to 20 feet, and we did that.
We did that. We can do that without interrupting anything we proposed, including the coverage.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may at this point, 8:05 is going to be 45 minutes since the application began. I know we still have public that wants to testify there, and I believe there may be some objectors to the application. Ms. Krimko's already indicated that they're another witness.
No. The only other witness is the architect if they have questions about the architecture. So, we're good to have it open to the public now.
I'm just pointing it out.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. Anybody have any questions for this witness? If you think of any, we can come back to you, but does any members of the public to form a short line?
Conga line?
But you have to-
You're gonna come on up, we're gonna ask you your name.
have a position that I want to set forward, but I still have a question.
Yeah, right now we take questions for this witness. Perfect. You can model the behavior, would be great.
Yeah, you do need the
Yeah,
mic.
you need it.
All right. I'm John Cito, CITO. I live at,
Hold on, Mr.
oh,
Tito.
sure,
Do you swear testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
And just state your name and spell your last name for the record.
John Cito, CITO,
CITO, and your address.
514 Corley's Avenue. I'm the house with the garage.
Can you just point it out on the drawing where you are?
Where's that?
Corliss is behind, on the top.
Right here.
That's you.
And
Okay.
this is my garage.
Okay.
Okay.
And just so you know, that house has been there. We did a variance about 5 years ago to add on the other side. But that garage has been there almost 100 years.
All right, we're not coming looking for you.
As long as the other part of the house.
Yeah.
So I just want to give a perspective. I just have a question. Have you done an environmental impact report on this site?
No, that was not in our purview.
Did you do a perk test on this location?
No soil testing was done to date.
Are you aware there's two aquifers in this location? There's one at 4-foot level and there's one at 12-foot level.
We did determine the seasonal high groundwater with a test pit. And that was
Yes.
done. That
And
was
you're aware
included
there's
on the
two aquifers?
aware that there's aquifers. There was no testing, and I don't know what you're basing that off of, but there was no testing for any aquifers. But that's we know where the seasonal high groundwater is.
All right, the seasonal high groundwater becomes a big problem in that area, but you don't have an environmental impact statement on that, do you?
I don't think that's required and appropriate for seasonal high groundwater to have an environmental.
But if you're going to put a well and a whole drainage system there, should you know that's before you put it in?
Well, like I said, we did do a soils investigation to determine seasonal high groundwater, but proposing underground drainage does not necessitate environmental impact, especially for stormwater management.
But in a location where you have a lot of water at periods of time, don't you think it's important to know that?
I think it's important to manage the water and get it to the municipal right of way instead of keeping it on the private properties or sending it to neighboring.
Let's talk about the municipal right of way. Are you aware there's no storm drainages along Laurel Avenue?
Yeah, that's what we were discussing with the board earlier.
Okay, so if there's no storm drainages, where are you going to dump that water?
The best place to send rainwater, whether it's from our property or what the neighbors are sending to ours, is to the municipal right of way.
To the street?
Yes.
Okay. Now, to the back of the yard, if you put drainage in the wall, you explained that before, you're going to put pipes in there. I know from experience this last winter, those pipes get clogged. How are you going to clean them?
We'll put together an operations and maintenance manual for the homeowner to follow. They have to be maintained.
Can I just ask, Bennett, do you have concerns about what the homeowner is talking about from an engineering perspective as far, do we need an environmental study of the property?
No, an environmental impact statement is not something that's required by the board application checklist, or it's not necessarily appropriate for this type of application.
And it's not for stormwater. Environmental impact has to do with other noise,
Yeah,
contamination, things like that.
more-
We did our
it's more
stormwater
geared
work.
towards wetlands and your trees, vegetation, things like that. But for stormwater management, typically for the type of recharge system we were talking about, we would typically require soil boring to determine the seasonal high water table to make sure we have the right separation from the seasonal high water table and the recharge system.
Mr. Matlack, are you at all concerned that there are no storm drains along Laurel Avenue, as just mentioned?
That really isn't the applicant's responsibility. I'm not aware of what the stormwater conditions are on Laurel Avenue, whether or not there are drainage issues currently, but that's really, the streets are designed to convey water along the gutter lines to the nearest drainage area.
Isn't it our responsibility though not to overpower the streets with water or flood them?
Yeah, and that's why we have maximum impervious cover requirements, which was mentioned before. The applicant meets that, and the requirement is that they do not discharge water onto neighboring properties. The ordinance intent is for stormwater to be discharged towards the right of way, and then it's handled by the municipality,
And Ms.
or it's recharged on site.
And Ms. Lippman, just to address, we're actually 5% below what's permitted, and that's based on a significantly undersized lot. So if this was a full-size lot, we would be allowed a lot more coverage than what we're proposing. If I was here seeking a variance for coverage, well, let me rephrase it. I wouldn't come here and seek a variance for coverage here, because I don't know that we could justify it unless all of these studies were done. But since we're fully compliant and could otherwise, the current homeowner could build out as much coverage as we're proposing and not come to the board. So the drainage is only in front of you guys and Ben instead of Greg, the township engineer, township attorney from our last meeting with him, the township engineer, just because we need other variances related to it. If we kept the existing house, added on to it, we could put all this other stuff in and be 5% even more and never come before this board. So again, I appreciate the board's concern for the neighbors and the neighborhood and the drainage, but the drainage is not really an issue that we're here for because we fully comply.
I just have a follow-up. You said there's gonna be a full basement, correct? At this location?
Yeah, it's yeah.
So
there is a basement.
that basement's at least 9 feet deep, correct? Because you have 9 foot.
8 feet.
8 feet. And that's gonna be below the first aquifer.
It's not. It is designed to be above the seasonal high groundwater by 2 feet.
Are you sure about that?
I am sure about that.
Because my house is right next to it, and we have that problem. So,
We do the testing for that very reason. We are very strict with that when we do our designs. Yes.
okay, but what I'm gonna ask you is, you're gonna have sump pumps in, correct?
Yes.
And where are those sump pumps gonna pump out to?
They can pump. Actually, they could be connected to our drainage system and pump to the street.
Right, and it's gonna pump into the street, correct?
And
if-
that's the best place to send.
And if the seasonal high water table is really high like it was last year, it will be a continuous pumping into the street.
That's not our anticipation based on the separation we're proposing to the seasonal high groundwater table.
Okay. But if I let you know the fact that that will occur, because it occurred to several neighbors in the area, isn't that a factor you should take into account?
I have to object because we don't know what the neighbor's seasonal high water table
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
and we also don't know where their basement level is. So again, if the houses have been there for 100 years, my guess is they have no stormwater management. So we're coming before you, we're meeting all of the current regulations with regard to stormwater management, and your engineer has no issue with it. So, respectfully, whatever aquifer Mr. Cito may have on his property, we did the soils testing, we know what's on our property.
I just want to clarify. I said only one part of the house was 100 years old. With the
Okay.
other part, and that's
Okay.
the addition was a 9-foot basement. So I know from experience, the aquifer is really bad in that area.
You'll have an opportunity to
And
offer
that's
testimony.
why I want you to just address what council said.
Yep, thank you. Next person, questions, please.
Can I just ask, how many people here are gonna speak on this application? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I just have comments, but.
and then there are comments. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm just pointing it out. We're past the 45-minute part. We still have we still have 3 other applications that need to be heard this evening. I think some of the other applications may have public involved.
I'd like to have the people that are here to ask questions ask their questions right now
That's
because it's on your mind. You're ready to talk, hopefully, and we can get through that, and then we'll figure out what to do. Okay? Sound good?
We're ready to speak.
Come on up.
This is questions.
Yeah, these are questions of this witness only.
I'm George Butler. This is my wife, Michelle
Sir,
Chandler.
let me
It's,
just
you,
swear
you
you
go
in.
one at a time.
Wants to know if you have questions.
Oh, I don't have any questions. We
Yeah,
know-
yeah. Yeah, let's be very clear because that's why I kind of thought this could go fast. This has to be questions of this witness. If the witness talked about it, you can ask him questions about what he talked about. If you want to tell us it's a bad idea, that's not the time to do it just yet. Okay?
Sorry, I thought-
That's quite all right. Yeah, no, we just have to. This Mr. Cito knew, so I didn't have to explain it. But that's usually by spiel I give. Yeah, no, it's very good. Yep. Okay, so questions of this witness specifically. Come on up, sir. Good
Right, so I'm
evening.
just going to swear you in. The swearing testimony you're about to give, because invariably there'll be testimony, that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
Just state your name for the record.
Patrick Glynn, Glynn,
And Mr. Glynn, what is your address?
518 Corley's.
518 Corliss Avenue. And can you just show on the map, on that drawing, which one's yours?
Where is it?
Are you right behind? Okay.
That's you. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so, your property doesn't touch yours?
No, it doesn't
Okay.
physically touch it, no.
Okay, Mr. Glenn.
My question is this on?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
My question is about, you're talking about a basement, and this, how far down below the grade will that basement go?
So below the existing grade, and again, by virtue of some of the raising that we're doing, the basement slab is about 4 feet below the existing grade.
Okay. And like you said, you have sump pumps, but the problem with the sump pumps, my only comment is,
This is questions, but go ahead. I'm sure you can form it as a question. Start it with, do you agree?
here's the problem. In that area, and I've lived there 30, 40 years, the groundwater will actually come up to where the land is. Will come up to grade in a wet season. And I think that will overload your drainage system that you discussed, because if you go where the drains go back, the pipe, perforated pipe, it will push, if it comes up that high, it will actually push that water into the basement rather than take it out of the basement. So that's my only comment on that. And the fact that you have no drains on that street, we had, in Corley's Avenue, we didn't have those drains.
Sir, I'm sorry. You're supposed to be asking questions of Mr. Ward. Okay, I apologize
Anyway,
because I didn't let this gentleman speak, and he didn't have questions, so I can't let you just.
You'll have a chance.
Yeah, there's a time set aside for you to make specific comments. Okay.
Mr. Glenn,
My
may I ask
only
a question of you?
was about the drainage.
Okay.
Mr. Glenn? Hi. Do you have any drainage system on your property?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
I have sump pumps and I have drain tiles. And what I did is, when I put the last addition on, I have drain tiles that cover the interior circumference of the crawl space. And they're redundant. I have 2 sump pumps, I have 2 wells, one at each end. If one doesn't work, the other one will. And if I know I got water coming out of the one, which is a little higher than the other one, I got a broken pump. So you need, on that street, they'll fill up. A basement will fill up. I've seen them where it fills up all the way to the first floor on houses on that street.
Right, but
When the system fails.
that's not
No,
drainage.
no more
That
questions.
was my question.
You're asking him to give testimony, and I'm trying to tell him not to give testimony. Okay. Any questions for? Come on up, sir.
Patrick, I think you have to turn it back on, it looks like it's red.
Alright, sir, let me just swear you in, just in case. Do you swear any testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Just state your name for the record.
Bill Doherty,
Do you spell the last name?
Dougherty.
And your address, please?
515 Laurel Avenue. I'm at this property directly east, adjacent to the.
Okay. Thank you.
I just wanted some clarification on a few issues, primarily on the drainage and also on the deck. Also with regard to the retaining wall in front, is it 2 feet above current grade or will it be 3 feet above? It sounded like there was.
At the very front, right behind the sidewalk, a couple feet behind the sidewalk, it'll be slightly increased at the bottom of the wall, plus 2 feet to the top.
So what's the
along-
slight increase?
It's up to a foot in the
Okay.
front, yeah.
So it'll be less than 3 feet
Right.
higher than what's there today.
And on the right side, it'll be at existing grade, 2 feet plus.
I mean, we mentioned about streetscape and aesthetics. Retaining walls do look great in some areas, but there's no retaining walls anywhere along Laurel Avenue that, where the whole front of this property is a retaining wall. So that would be a significant difference in, the aesthetics as far as like what the property looks like as compared to other properties. This deck right here, is the fence gonna be on top of the deck or like along the side so
With moving it to 5 feet, the fence will be along the property line.
So the deck is 5 feet above the grade, right?
Right.
And the fence is 6 feet high.
Right.
So there's gonna be 1 foot of fence along the deck.
No, they're separate. They're separated by 5 feet
Oh, okay.
laterally.
So it'll be. Alright,
There'll be a
I
gap
know-
between
I thought
them.
it was on top, on the side of the deck.
Yeah.
It was going to be, Mr. Doherty, until we're now moving the deck over, so now the fence will stay at the property line.
I'm a little concerned about this area right here, and I saw it in the engineer's report about the, air conditioning units as well as the, pool pump. There was a note about potentially moving this back into this corner. My bedroom, our bedroom is in front here, my daughter's bedrooms are right here. This is about 22 feet, I think, from my house and their bedroom to those units. I am a little concerned about the noise that may make. I heard some pool pumps are very loud. We're light sleepers. We don't really want to have to hear vacuums running all night.
Well, couple of things, just to point something out, and just so you understand, the ordinance requires basically the equipment to be 20 feet from your house. Meaning the purpose for the 10-foot setback is, so it's 10 feet from the property line, and then your house can be 7.5 feet. So in this zone, conceivably, it could be if your house was closer to this side, they think it's acceptable that 17.5 feet is enough distance. So while we're too close to our property line, we're still giving you the amount of space that the ordinance contemplates. That being said, we're adding solid wall and we're adding landscaping along there as well.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about noise. I mean, I have a wooden fence right here, but those pool pumps do carry some noise. And if it was located, not along the property line, maybe back in this area, you'd have 3 separate garages and a shed, providing noise reduction from it getting out from there. It's just a comment I had. I've heard those pool pumps and 20 feet sometimes they're fairly loud, especially at night. So how was the depth of water determined, or the seasonal high depth of water? Was that based on
With a geotechnical engineer that the applicant hired.
a well was put in, or to check the water table?
I can't speak for it because I didn't do the work, but it was done by a professional engineer. There were 2 investigations on the property. We're going to have to submit that as resolution compliance anyway.
Water tables do fluctuate quite a bit, so if it was done in winter or fall, it's usually much lower than it is in the spring and late winter. My sump, I do have a sump in my house right here. The water is below grade, and that sump is 3 feet below grade at times. If my sump does not work for some reason, when we lost power during Hurricane Irene, I got about 6 6 inches of water in my entire basement. My neighbor who lives down.
Sir, I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off because you're testifying. Sorry, we just got other stuff.
I'm just concerned about, I'd like to ask further questions about the depth of water because I think it's much deeper than 10 feet. As Mr. Sito also said. The drainage into the street, as far as people did say, there was no storm sewers on Laurel Ave. We do get pooling water here, and then at the end of Laurel Ave, we get a lot of pooling water. It basically becomes an ice skating rink in the winter, the entire end of Laurel Avenue.
Okay. I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's just questions only at this point.
I'll comment that at another time. This area right here, is this just gonna be?
Pat,
I don't do this much.
compared to the existing drainage conditions on the property now, is your plan
Right.
improving it, improving the drainage conditions?
Yeah, there's no drainage infrastructure at all. The roof leaders go down, or the roof, or it might not. There aren't gutters on all roofs, so everything just hits the ground on top. So we're improving it. We're only increasing coverage very so slightly,
Right.
but with the what we've offered to do in addition to what we were already proposing, we're improving it.
Is your basement in the existing dwelling or no?
You know what, that I don't know.
I'm just curious.
No,
No.
No?
I don't think you could construct one that close to the property line.
Ms. Krimko, could you conceivably move the pool equipment back behind the pool?
We could move the pool equipment there, we could move
But
it
there
into,
seems to be
we
a
could,
shed on that property behind.
again, we could move it there, we could move it into the basement. If it's vented properly, it can actually go right in our basement.
And this area right here, is this just gonna be grass below the proposed air conditioning units and pool pump?
Yeah.
Other than, it'll be on a concrete, it has to be on a concrete pad, but
Right.
other than that, yes.
And this, you said it'd be about 2 feet lower than the front yard and the backyard because it does like a dip
Well,
there?
it'll be at existing grade. Yeah, we're just
At existing grade, okay. And are the roof drains connected to the subsurface
Yes.
drainage system as well?
That was a comment in Mr. Malak's letter, and yes, they will be.
Okay. And then the retaining wall right on the other side of my fence is going to be about 2 feet above grade. When we get a heavy rain and this soil and this grass get saturated, inevitably it starts to surface. Groundwater is going to rainwater is going to pool up on the surface of the ground. What's going to prevent that water from draining off this retaining wall onto my property?
Yeah, so no, good question, no problem. We have it graded at 2% from the face of dwelling to the wall along the street. So it is not at all sloped towards you. It's actually towards the street and towards the driveway. And we have to build it that way because if it is approved, and we have to supply a final as-built survey to the township to make sure it's done that way. It's a great question.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't do that. The township wouldn't let us.
And I just clarifying something you said earlier. Did you say that there was water from my property entering onto? Okay, because I have a 4-inch Belgian block that along my driveway that prevents that.
Yeah, it's from the rear primarily.
Is there a block retaining wall back along the rear? Isn't there a cinder block wall that prevents that?
The lot 14 sits the yard like kind of in the middle between the house and the property line is about a foot above ours, I believe, not more.
Okay. The only other thing I'd like to say is, was a mention about aesthetics. I have a view through here. I don't know if this is considered a question or not.
Doesn't sound like it is.
Okay.
Does anybody else have questions?
I got a question.
I'm gonna pass the mic then. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Alright, so now I'm gonna swear you in then. Do you swear any testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And just state your name, spelling your last name for the record.
George Butler,
And what's your address, Mr. Butler?
516 Corliss Avenue. The rear of our property borders 517 Laurel
Okay, can
Avenue.
you just show everyone on the map where it is?
Right here.
Okay, Mr. Butler?
I wanted to know how you would characterize a property on our side of 517 Laurel Avenue that would allow water to enter from our property onto theirs. How would you characterize it? What's there on that property? On our property? Have you looked at it? Have you looked at our property on that edge?
So Mr. Butler,
And what's there?
Mr. Butler, you gotta let him answer.
Okay, go ahead. He hasn't looked at it, that's why I'm saying.
That's not. Sir, that's not true.
Okay.
Okay. We have an aerial and we have a survey, right? And I've been to the subject property. Obviously, there's a lot of buildings on our rear property line, but the topography on the survey that was submitted, done by a professional land surveyor, and as you can see on the aerial, your property sits higher than this property in elevation. In the event of a rainstorm, ultimately the water goes to the lower spot, which will be where we are.
Are you done?
Mr. Butler, please don't be antagonistic.
Okay, I'm trying to answer it so we have the right perspective on this.
You have the right to ask questions, but not everyone's being professional.
Can I answer now? Can I respond?
No, this is where you ask
Oh,
questions.
okay. All right. Well, I wanted him to answer and describe the property, and I can say it's not that at all.
Thank you. So,
Looks like we're gonna adjourn.
any more questions from the public? Okay. Okay to carry this case?
And I'd recommend
Without notice.
that if the applicant's gonna be making changes to the plans to move the pool or to do anything with landscaping or anything like that, that you come back to the next meeting with those revised plans.
Of course. What's the next date?
That next date is Wednesday, May 27th, 2026.
Sounds like I'm getting word that the May meeting may be overpacked, so we're gonna have to move it to June.
What if? No, my question is.
Yeah, that's our last meeting, I think, it's June, right?
So
Okay.
again, right, I understand what I was gonna ask you is if we get, in case something else that's on in May cancels. But you know what, I'm not gonna be here in May, Anthony is, and I'm not gonna straddle him.
Okay,
It's-
but so we're
Are
gonna
we
move it.
doing the remand in May?
That's May.
I don't care, we can do it in June.
Okay, but that's not for here.
I think our last meeting is in June, right? Or
Yes.
the last meeting is in June, so.
Oh boy.
What's the date? The June date or the May date? June.
That's when we get our red slip.
So we can carry to June. Yeah, we can carry to June.
Carry to the June meeting, but we'll have to figure out,
Oh, it looks like I'm here anyway. Great.
Our
What?
June meeting is a Wednesday, June 17th.
Yeah, we're here.
Nobody asked me anything.
If we could do that, please, Mr. Chair, with no further notice?
Yeah, so June 17th, Wednesday, June 17th, 2026, with no further notice. That's when 517 Laurel Avenue will be heard next.
so everyone's understanding that,
Can we
if you
take
put
a
it in your
5-minute
calendars right
health
now, June 17th,
2
it's
minute.
a Wednesday, not a
3
Thursday.
minute.
Cool.
In this room at 7 p.m. So you're not going to get any further notice, but they are going to be submitting revised plans. So you may want to contact Nicole before that date. They should be in at least 10 days beforehand to see what the revised plans look like. But please be in this room at that time on that date. June
If
17th.
you wanted to make comments and I did not let you, that will be when you'll be able to do that. So I apologize for my brusqueness, but we're way over time on this application. But I wanted to give everybody the opportunity to ask their questions.
June 17th.
Thank you, everybody.
That-
So
I know.
we're gonna take a 5-minute break. All right, can we take? We're back here. Can we take attendance, please? Yep.
And we can take their stuff down, Nicole. Or why don't you look outside and get
I'm
Patty
gonna
here?
grab, I'm just gonna like pop out and hand it to them.
Yeah, and then he's got the stuff on the board.
Ooh, nice pen.
I'll share with
I read the email.
Me too. Yeah, we're doing 360. Yes, please.
Mr. Ashkenazi?
Here.
Mr. Delomo?
Here.
Ms. Beal? Mr. Kimura?
Here.
Ms. Littman?
Here.
Mr. Fujiali?
Here.
Mr. Lineski?
Here.
Vice Chairman DeGenaro.
Here.
Chairman Bowler.
Here, all present and accounted for. All right, we're going to move on to the last item on the agenda because these folks got bumped last month. So it's 260 Overbrook Avenue LLC, 260 Overbrook Avenue, Block 22, Lot 40 in an R4 zone. Attorney for the applicant, Christopher Koutsouris.
Perfect, Chairman, thank you.
I feel like whatever I said, you were going to say perfect, and everybody would call you that.
No, it was musically perfect.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I am before you start, I'm just going to mark in the following exhibits that we have.
Sure.
Exhibit A1, it's going to be the variance application itself. Exhibit A2 is going to be the elevation certificate. Exhibit A3 will be the survey of the property. Exhibit A4 will be the existing conditions plan, and Exhibit A5 will be the architectural plans. I then have the following board exhibits. Exhibit B1 will be the zoning officer's report. Exhibit B2 will be the board planner's report. Exhibit B3 will be the board engineer's report. Exhibit B4 will be the zoning board resolution dated March 12, 1981. Exhibit B5 will be the zoning board resolution dated January 14, 1988. And then Exhibit B6 will be the violation notice dated April 29, 2025.
Bingo.
Thank you.
Okay. The B's, I got the bingo.
Welcome.
Thank you. My name's Christopher Koutsouris. I am from Cage Law Group, which is in Medford, New Jersey, down in Burlington County. I represent the applicant. I think there's a number of witnesses that we should get sworn, and
We usually do them like as you're calling.
Oh, we'll do them as I go then. So I'd just like to present a little bit of background if I can. Foremost, the applicant's here for whatever it's worth, without prejudice to the prior rights that were granted to this property on the two prior resolutions. I know that there's some thought, and it might be right, that there's a change in use, which is why we need to be here today. I don't know that I necessarily agree, but we want to be the best neighbors that we possibly can be. We want to make everybody happy, especially Mr. Higgins, and he deserves it. And that's why we're here, because there's a school of thought that we should have been issued zoning violations and went and fought it in court, and you know that we weren't complying with the prior resolutions. But we don't want to do that. We want to show why this is the correct use for this property. We want to show why the parking is adequate, because I think that's really the big issue that's of concern here. So let's talk about the site. Back in 1981, when I was 3, this site received approval from this board to utilize the site as warehouse/office. So that's the first resolution that you have in your packet as a board exhibit. And then in 1988, when I was a little older than 3, but still in elementary school, the property received board approval from this board to expand the non-conforming use. Now, the 1981 and the 1988 variances, these variances that were granted were probably D2 variances because the property existed in a form that was a condition that was ongoing prior to the adoption of your zoning ordinance in '73, thereabouts?
Yeah,
When I
well,
was
the
in
first
board-
ordinance was in the 40s.
Yeah, I wasn't born yet. So, now this is where it gets interesting. It gets a little interesting, just to give a little background. The '88 resolution agreed, that's the language, to permit the existing use to be, quote, classified and limited, so future occupants of the site will be restricted and would require board approval if the intensity of the same changes in any way, whether it's better or it's worse. Okay. That '88 resolution says that the use of the entire site shall be limited to a tool, sale, and service type business, with a maximum of 25% of the use associated with retail sales. If the same shall be expanded in any way, the same shall require a variance, I presume variance for use. So we're here. Now, I ask you to remember this 1988 resolution, because I think it's important. But we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. So let's talk about the history of the applicant's ownership. I'm just giving background. I just want to give as much background, and then I'm going to go through it quick. The property is owned by a holding company, 260 Overbrook Avenue LLC. My client, that LLC, purchased the property on February the 3rd of 2025. Before closing, my client performed its due diligence. How do I know that? Well, they had a good attorney. Me. And they had a good real estate professional, Michael Mizrahi, who I think the board might have seen here once or twice before. And we performed an Oprah search. We did an Oprah search, we sent out our Oprah request, we said, can we have all the information for this site? And we did this prior to Christmas 2024. And then December 23rd, 2024, we get a response back, and we relied on that response when we purchased the property, innocently. We got the 1981 resolution in that response, the one from when I was 3. We didn't get this resolution from 1988. Nobody told us about it. The seller didn't tell us about it. The town didn't tell us about it. Mr. Mizrahi went down in person to the zoning office, got his response to the Oprah request, and the 88 resolution wasn't in there. How should this seller have been bound to tell us about the 88 resolution, maybe with a deed restriction, but that wasn't done. It just simply wasn't done.
I'm just gonna ask you, the seller obviously knew about the 88 resolution and
Sure.
restrictions. They should have disclosed it.
They
They should have disclosed it, so if they're an issue, that, they're the people to take it up with, the sellers.
Oh, I agree. I agree. But we're here seeking approval for exactly what? To continue the use that's been previously granted with the same number of parking spots that were previously authorized. And I'm going to tell the board why, in a very quick fashion, why this is appropriate. The 81 resolution granted that applicant the right to operate their business out of this site with 8 parking spots. The 88 resolution did the same. At both times, the resolution states, one of them inaccurately, I might add, that 18 parking spots were required. The second use is probably more like 25 or 26 parking lots required by your ordinance. But nevertheless, 8 were approved.
How
So-
is the 88 resolution holding you up right now? Can you just specifically answer that?
No, I really can't, because as far as I'm concerned, the 88 resolution grants my client approval to use the property exactly as my client intends. Nevertheless, we were told we need to come before this board and seek approval.
I have to disagree with that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Mr. Higgins, what's your take on that?
The 88 resolution says shall be conditioned upon the following. Condition number 7 is that the use of the entire site shall be limited to a tool sale and service type business, which it's not a tool sale and service type business.
Well, we are a service type business.
Do you sell tools?
No, we don't sell tools.
Well, then you're not a tool sale and
Well, then
service
you're not
type
a tool.
business.
We are a service type business, and we are a service business operating an office in this area.
But in the context of this, service means servicing the tools and repairing the tools.
And so what we're proposing is a less intensive use of this property.
That's-
Use this
And that may
property as-
very well be so,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's, but you definitely are not a, by your own admission,
Yeah,
not a
That's
tool
why,
sale
that's
and
why
service
we're
type
here
business.
under
Yeah.
two reasons, Counselor and Mr. Higgins. We're here because we want to be good neighbors, but we're also here without prejudice to the prior rights that were granted to the property. Because that might be open to interpretation, but we can't. We want to be here. Okay? I mean, we could have said, no, we're going to court. We didn't do that. We didn't file a prerogative writs motion to force the issuance of a business registration certificate. We're here. We came here. So, who is 260 Overbrook Avenue? I just want you to know who the neighbor that wants to operate in this property is, so that you know. Our ultimate parent organization is a company called iBuy. iBuy distributes consumer and electronics equipment to professionals throughout the world. That's what they do. They are a gross $1 billion a year industry. We have locations in Florida, Somerset, New Jersey, and Ewing, New Jersey. We have over 140 employees that staff those other locations. And they do various things from those locations. Those locations are the primary sales locations. Those are the warehouse locations that sell the equipment. We're a 24/7 operation. We supply large contracts to the United States federal government and to educational consumers as well as others. That's what we do. That's what the business does. 260 Overbrook Holding Corporation. iBuy is our parent. iBuy donates vast amounts of money to charitable organizations annually. We invest in the communities in which we operate. We do this because we are part of the community that we move into. Our employees are also part of the community, and they're part of our community, our family. We treat our employees like family. That's why we purchased 260 Overbrook Avenue. We purchased it to reduce the need for our members to drive all the way to Ewing and all the way to Somerset.
Sir, how many members will be in that building?
Well, we anticipate on a daily basis somewhere around, and I'm gonna have to defer to Alan, but I think we were anticipating somewhere around 18, but he's not sworn yet, so 16.
You want to swear in?
Yeah, Alan, could you stand up?
Mr. Matlack, how many spaces are required at this property?
18 based on the ordinance.
And how many are there?
18.
But not everyone needs
All right,
a
Hold on.
let me
And,
swear.
and let me get there, because we're gonna explain that.
Let me swear him in. Do you swear any testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And just state your name for the record.
Alan Usherovitz.
Could you please spell that last name?
Osherovitz.
And Alan is A-L-A-N?
Yes.
And what is your position with the company?
General manager.
General manager. Okay, go ahead.
Alan, how many folks do you anticipate on a daily basis operating from 260 Overbrook Avenue?
Anywhere between 16 and 18.
Okay, so
Excuse me.
there's a question about,
On your letter here for iBuy, it says that there will be a maximum of 8 individuals there, and at no time will there be more than 8.
that's where our intention is as we roll this out, because this is our first step.
But you just testified there could be up to 18.
Right, well,
So
there,
it
as we,
contradicts the letter.
as we get there, because this first step is to allow 8 employees into the property, and we wanna come back, and we wanna expand our parking on the site at a later date to accommodate the 18 individuals.
Can you show me
Why
where
aren't you
the
just doing that
wetlands
now?
are
Aren't you just
on
doing
this?
it now?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you a question.
Because we
So,
wanna get this open with right now, rather
the
than,
interior gonna be suited for 18 employees?
probably,
So why wouldn't the parking then meet that? Why would you come back later for
because
it?
we wanna make other improvements to the site, we wanna come back for a complete site plan, we wanna expand
Putting
the
18
parking.
offices in, I think, or however many offices you're putting in, I think we need to comply with the parking out the gate.
Okay, well, the ordinance would require 14, not 18.
14.
And I can explain why that is, because some of the site is for storage. Storage is a less intense use than the office use. There are no sales that come from this site. There are no visitors to this site. That's not the intention. And if I could make my application, which is traditional, before we get to the board questions, Mr. Osherowitz is going to explain that we actually have in place right now a carpool. The company operates vans. These folks don't want to drive. They drive them all the way to Ewing right now. That's in operation. That's the plan. And we're going to continue it. We lease 2 vans
Hold on.
for that purpose.
Hold on. You're gonna agree to a condition of approval that forever into the future, and no matter who owns this property, that they're not allowed to park, that they're gonna have to carpool or van pool their employees to the building?
We do it now.
That's not what I asked you. Are you gonna agree to a condition of approval that whoever, that going into perpetuity, that in order to operate this site, the employees have to be van pooled or carpooled to the site?
No, but we would agree that no more than 8 vehicles would be parked on the site.
We only have 8 parking spaces.
That's all we're gonna park right now. Again, we plan to expand the parking in the future.
Sir, can you show
Yeah, but you're not, hold on, but you're not doing it now.
That's right, so that's
So,
why
you're,
we're asking,
so you're proposing, why don't you just do it now?
because we're not prepared to do it now. We have to go in for a site plan. We need to plan our site appropriately.
I mean, I have a problem from a legal perspective that you're sitting here telling us that you're gonna have 16 to 18 employees, and you're not gonna agree to a condition of approval that if you're going to 16 and 18 employees, that they're gonna have to carpool in.
How many
Where
employees
these cars are going to park?
How many employees did the tool shop have from the 1970s until the?
I don't really care because you're not the tool shop from the 1970s.
That's
You're,
right.
you're this business.
That's right.
And the question is, you're testifying you're gonna have 16
I'm
to
not
18?
testifying at all.
Your witness just testified. I didn't say you were. It said you, the collective you, is testifying that you're gonna have 16 to 18 employees. You have literature that says no more than 8 individuals, so it contradicts the literature which you handed in. And you're telling us, well, don't worry about that because we're gonna carpool everybody in, but you're not gonna agree to a condition that you're gonna carpool
I didn't
everybody
say
in. I literally asked you and you said no.
You didn't.
No, I
It's
said that I
totally
would
recorded.
agree that we would have no more than 8 cars parked in our.
So that's not the
spots.
same as saying you're going to carpool in employees. I understand you only have 8 vehicles parked at the site because you only have 8 parking spaces, so you can't park 9. What's to stop people from parking elsewhere in the neighborhood or anywhere else to get those other 10 people into the site?
Well, I suppose that you could restrict off-site parking.
Sir, can you
We
show
can't,
me where
how
the
can we
parking
restrict
spaces
off,
are
we
on
can't
that?
stop someone from doing that.
Sure you can.
We can put a condition against you, and I don't mean you, because you're the attorney and you don't work for this company. I mean you, the collective you. We can put a restriction that you're not allowed to park off-site. But then you're putting the burden on the township, that the township's gotta patrol and make sure that any cars that are parked in the neighborhood around here aren't going to your site. And that becomes very difficult. That's not a fair
It's not
condition to
enforceable.
throw that over to the town.
But we're telling
Maybe
you.
this building is not the appropriate building for your use because you can't fit what you're looking to do in there.
No, we absolutely can fit what we're
You
looking to do.
can't.
Sure we can, because we carpool our employees right now.
But you won't agree to a condition. Sir, you know as well as I do, conditions run with the land. It doesn't run to this business. Okay? So your business model of carpooling people to this site, if you're not gonna agree to a condition that into perpetuity, you must carpool to the site, then it's a worthless offer that that is what you're
So
saying.
you would agree to reduce our parking requirement to 2 spots for the 2 carpool vans? I'm just curious, because to me it's academic. We're asking for 8 spots, and we're telling you we carpool our employees in. So,
You are, not you, the collective you. You started it with the youth.
I did start it.
Yes.
I did.
All right. So I'm just going to say you, and when I say you, I mean everybody, the applicant.
And,
I understand, but that's not the way zoning works.
So what they would like you to do, Alan, is to agree that all of our employees, I don't know why all, when we have 8 parking spots, I guess, which is where I'm a little stuck, but that we would.
Well, who do you carpool in? Everyone but the 8 people who can park there?
So, and we have
Yes.
2 Honda Odysseys that we lease out, and we pick up all the local employees over there.
And what happens if you stop carpooling?
So, I mean, we have, they're 3-year leases. We've been doing it for the last
So,
almost 9 years.
I understand that, but that's you. So the problem we always have with this when people come in, even when they come in and say, hey, we're gonna park cars, we have a great relationship with this neighbor and he lets us park on his property, but no, we're not gonna enter into a agreement or a 99-year lease with that neighbor that we can always park there. So then the other person on the other side could go ahead tomorrow and say, you no longer park on my property. Same way here. So whoever you have this lease with these carpool vans could say, we're not leasing you the carpool vans anymore, and you decide not to do it. And then what happens when the board allowed you to go into the site? This building's not big enough for you guys.
So, I understand that, like, what you're saying.
Respectfully, the building is fine. The site is fine.
The site is not
We
big
have
enough for
8
you.
existing spots on the site right now. There are
Right.
8. You say we need 18. I argue we need 12 to 14 under your ordinance. When the writing for the 8 employees was issued, that was in our effort, negotiating with the zoning officer to get access to the site right away. Now we're indicating that we will use the site with the 8 spots until we can come back. because we don't want everybody to drive from Deal, Elberon, and the local community all the way out to Somerset and Ewing. They don't want to. This is our billing staff, our backbone.
That's
not our
great
sales
for
staff.
you, but it's not right for, but that's not a zoning ideal.
Well,
How does
so-
that meet
so
zoning what
zoning-
the applicant wants?
So zoning doesn't encourage carpooling, it encourages more vehicles on the roadway to occupy the site and to congest the road.
If you're going.
No, that's not true. That's a blanket statement that it varies based upon the site.
Well,
You
that's
can't just say it like that, because in
that's-
some way, and stop for a second. In some way, because you're insulting this entire board and every attorney in this room and every professional in this room.
Oh, no.
In some cases, zoning encourages carpooling. In some cases, zoning encourages less cars, but in some cases it doesn't. So don't, like that, stop with the generalities.
But it is a generality to say that the generality is directed at me. The response is, why are we making this generality?
But how do we know in 3 years those leases come due, that you're gonna renew those leases, get more vans? You've already, according to this, you've already done construction in the building, without even getting a permit.
Yeah, can you explain the notice of violation?
You know, so you've done construction in the building without permits, and now you're saying, don't worry about it, we're gonna carpool.
Trust us. I can't approve something for 8 spaces that could potentially need 18 or 14 without knowing where those other spots are going
Well,
to
we
go.
can show you, but we haven't been given an opportunity to
Oh,
present
sir, you're
any of the
telling a
applications.
Yeah,
story,
all right,
though.
how about this?
It's not story time.
Let's,
Present the facts, and let's hear from your experts. Are
Yeah.
you adjacent to wetlands?
You wanna hear from the expert? I think that's a question for my professional planner, professional
Yeah.
engineer.
Can
who
you
I happen
answer
to be.
that?
Let's-
Are you adjacent to wetlands?
Yes,
So you're already restricted as to where you can put the additional spaces.
correct. Without
Again,
the
the
ED
reason,
approval.
another reason why we need to see the full depth and breadth of the plan for all of the spaces before any approval can be had.
So respectfully, for 2 decades, I've represented planning and zoning boards throughout the state of New Jersey and presented applications.
Okay.
And I'm appearing before this board giving background because it's entirely appropriate for the board to know about the property that the board is considering. So if you'd like to hear from the professional planner, the professional engineer, I'm prepared to present that individual.
Yeah, let's go ahead and,
Jennifer, can you stand up? This is Christopher Rosati from FWH Associates,
Excuse me,
professional planner and
just real
engineer.
quick, I am sorry for the interruption, I have to just clarify one thing. On the plans, you're saying 18 occupants. The letter says 8, on the plan it says 28 occupants. So there's a lot of discrepancies on the occupants.
Well, on the plans, I don't think anybody says 28 occupants. Where are you getting that information from?
clear that one up. So on the last
No.
page of the plan.
No, on the last page of the plans, I think somebody counted squares, which are lights on the ceiling elevation.
Can you swear me in?
yeah, here's what we're gonna do, okay, because this quick night turned into a very long night very quickly. Let's swear him in.
Okay.
Let's not ask any questions until somebody there says, any questions, okay? Good?
All right,
Good.
sir, do you swear any testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Just state your name for the record.
Christopher P. Rosati, ROSATI, with FWH Associates, Township, New Jersey.
And you are a licensed engineer, state of New Jersey? and
Yes.
You're licensed in good standing?
Yes, and a licensed planner as well.
And you're testifying in both capacities?
That's correct.
Okay, great, go ahead.
Well, Christopher, why don't we start with the question? How many occupants in this building are we proposing to utilize the occupancy?
Per the applicant, per the general manager, the intent is to have approximately 18 people. I can get to the answer of the 28 issue. That is on the architect's plan as a reference to a fire code. So on the fire code has a maximum occupancy of 28 based on the total square footage. So that's why there's 28 written on sheet 1 and also on the last sheet. The last sheet is a design document showing the egress paths for someone in an emergency. So the reference to the 28 is total occupancy, not what we're asking for. So that we can, just wanted to clear that up, because I noticed that as well.
Was there also not some reference to 28 desks being shown on one of the architecturals?
One of the letters I saw was a reference to a number of workstations shown on a plan, but I have not seen that plan. The plan that was submitted is the architectural plan showing a number of offices, showing a main office area, storage, etc.
Now, you've prepared a parking plan?
Yes, our office has prepared what we called an existing conditions plan, and on that plan, there are several proposed parking stalls marked. They're marked in concept because if you've been to the site, you've noticed that there's no striping per se on the site. But we marked areas where 8 spots are available. Use the microphone. We talked about the 1981 resolution. I was actually 10 when that came out, and I actually grew up in Ocean Township, so I actually visited the site when it was King Saw with my dad back in the 70s, so I'm familiar with the site, and I've actually been there. We are showing in concept and schematically 8 parking spots, 2 along the front. The closest one to the entrance would be the handicap ADA compliant stall with the associated access aisle and 5-foot wide pedestrian path. Next to that, an additional 9-foot space. And then to the south of the building, we have an additional area for additional 3 9x18 spots. And then across the gravel area is another is an area for another 3 spots. And actually, we can get a little bit more if we had to.
So where would those spots go?
They would just be adjacent to the 3 that we're showing. You would have 1 to the west and then 1 to the east, so we can get a total, in my opinion, a total of 10 quite easily.
Okay. Now, are there other areas of the site that are suitable for parking?
Sure. Along the back, we can, we could always extend this parking lot along the back and have additional parking there, but then we would need, obviously, site plan approval. We need to do some stormwater management. We also are in a flood zone, as was noted in both reports. So that would be, a flood hazard permit would be required, and we'd have to do the rigmarole with DEP in order to expand the operation of the site.
In your professional experience, how long does that process take?
Nowadays, under current rules, you're probably looking at 12 to 18 months, start to finish, when we have to deal with DEP and flood hazard.
So could a business that requires approval, zoning approval to operate as a non-permitted use, so if we came in here for a use variance, would we be able to operate for those 12 to 18 months if the additional parking was required?
If the additional parking was required, no.
Okay. But you think we can get 10 spots in areas that would not require DEP approval, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And we're showing 8 because those 8 currently exist, right?
Correct. From aerials.
Let's show the areas.
From aerials going back to 1979, the older areas, I apologize, are rather blurry. We didn't have the tech that we do now, obviously. You can see the structure itself sort of dead center of the site in each of the ones. We have 1979, skip to 2002, 2007, 12, 15, 20. There's always several vehicles parked in front of the building and to the south of the building. There used to be an old shed structure shown up on most of the pictures, and then between 15 and 20, that shed structure is gone. But there was always parking on that side of the building and in front of the building as well.
So let's just orient the board. If we were to put your parking plan like this would match the area, correct?
Correct.
So this would be the street, Overbrook Avenue, and that's shown down the right side now, all the exhibits that are on the board.
Yes.
Okay. And in addition to parking to the south side of the site, on all of those documents, are there vehicles or trailers that are parked elsewhere on the site throughout those years?
Yes.
And where, can we show the board where those are?
On the 2007 aerial, there's some trailers in the back of the building, I guess on the west side. There's also some actually off-site parking on the south on some of them. Again, on the 2012, there's some sort of trailer or maybe smaller vehicle in the back. And then on the 2020, there's it looks like to be a van pulling a large trailer to the south of the structure as well.
Okay. Now, are you familiar with the ordinance in Ocean Township as it relates to parking?
Yes.
Okay. Do you agree that that ordinance requires 18 spots?
Yes, based on, the ordinance requires 1 per every 200 square feet of gross floor area, so we have 3,600 some odd square feet of building. That equates to 18 required parking stalls.
Okay. Now, if 779 square feet of the site was used and restricted to use as storage, does that change the parking requirement under the ordinance?
Well, under the ordinance, no, but the board has flexibility with that ordinance to recognize that certain parts of the building may not be as intense as an office use, so they have the ability to reduce that requirement.
Okay. And with that 779 square feet for parking, for storage, require even one parking spot if it was standalone?
No. I actually, and I looked at it a little bit more in depth. I mean, if we really wanted to push the envelope, because we're trying to make the board comfortable, right, that 8 parking spots is going to work as we initially open this business, should the board act favorably. So I think we have the architectural plan. Actually, this will work, sure.
Is this just a version of A5?
It's a version A5, but it also has a highlighted area showing the area designated as storage.
Let's mark it in as A6 then.
Perfect.
So it's a floor plan with the storage area highlighted.
Yes. Absolutely. I can bring it to you, Nicole.
So A6 is a mounted version of the ground floor reflected ceiling plan with a highlighted area that's designated by the applicant as storage. But we also have the entrance vestibule. We have 2 bathrooms. It doesn't go all the way. Behind the bathroom, there's a employee lounge. There's a hallway. So if we really wanted to, again, push the envelope, I understand what I'm doing here, but push the envelope. I did a calculation that if we take out all of the non-office areas, people aren't going to be working there, right? No one's going to be having a desk in the entrance vestibule, et cetera. I came up with, I believe it was 12 parking spots where we're asking for 8. Now, 12 would be.
Mr. Chairman, I just have to correct something. The parking calculation in the ordinance for an office use is based on the gross floor area, not
Oh.
the usable area.
I said that, but I said the board also has the flexibility to recognize that we it may work with less. But I 100% recognize that the ordinance does not state you can reduce.
But your point, Ben, is that by the nature of it being a gross number, it takes into consideration the hallways, the vestibules, the thickness of the walls, all the things you. Yes, okay.
Correct, yeah.
And that the calculation might be smaller if it was in that.
And I think what the witness is saying is that the board could grant a variance for lesser parking if you were convinced that the actual parking requirement was less than the ordinance requirement. But the requirement would still be 18, right? And you could grant a
Sure.
variance for less. So
That
they
argument's
make
been
that
made to
argument.
us before, right? No,
But they're still not even meeting what they're reducing it down to.
I have a feeling he's about to surprise us.
I don't know if I was going to surprise you because it was already mentioned. But yeah, that's Mr. Higgins is correct. That's kind of where I was going. The uniqueness of this application, and we already talked about, and I didn't know it was going to go there. We do have an applicant who drives the employees to the site. I have never had an application that way. It's a very unique situation from an office standpoint. My office, we have 85 people in it. No one gets driven there, so our parking lot is crazy, right? But also to compare, I also wanted to bring up too, this main office area is really going to be the meat and potatoes of our operation, right? It's a telemarketing, not a telemarketing, I'm sorry, it's an online and phone operation for sales and clerical work. So there's not going to be any visitors coming. There's no client visitation. It's all people get there, they get on their computers, they get on their phones, they work their 8-hour day, and they leave. Now this main office hub is roughly 43 by 37 or something I have in my notes, going off the top of my head. I actually, in my office, again with the 85 people, we have a main working area where our engineers are and clerical staff. It's roughly the same size as this building. I measured it this morning myself, and I have 8 workstations in there. So
How many square feet is that room?
I have to look it up. It's 43 by 37 or something like that. It's like 1,500 square feet, something like that. I have it written down. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I knew someone was going to ask me, and that's why I brought it. I have 1,550 some odd square feet for that section.
You could put like 15 people in there.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, based on what we do, and because our workstations are a little bit bigger, we're an engineering office, you could get a little bit more. But again, just to give some understanding of that space. So say 8 to 12 can go in there. We were talking already about 16, 18 people in the office. We have 3 offices here, a potential office here, which is right now is set up to be an employee lounge. So, with you know, my quick calculation of 12, being able to present quite easily a total of 10, we're getting closer, and the total of 10 versus the 12 does not have anything to do with the valet provision of having people, quote unquote, bust to the office.
So are you showing 10 spaces or are you showing 8 spaces?
Well, the plan that was submitted is showing 8, but in testimony, I'm saying I recognize that there's an area for an additional 2, so I can testify that we can provide 10 quite easily.
But that hasn't been reviewed by our engineer or our planner.
No.
Can I present the leases to the board so you have them, the vehicle leases?
It's irrelevant.
Why do we need
Can I ask a question?
Vehicle leases are irrelevant because leases expire.
Can I ask a question about?
No, let me just finish this. Leases expire, so you have no control over the person who is leasing you these vehicles. So if the lease expires in 3 years, are you coming back in 3 years to re-testify before the board? Are you, because I'll give you a perfect example. We had another application, it wasn't in this town, but I'm telling you when I had. And they got their approval, and their approval was based upon leasing spaces from the adjacent property owner. Guess what that adjacent property owner did when the lease came up? They jacked up their rates for their leases, and the property owner decided, I'm not gonna rent from you anymore, and we had parking chaos all over the place. We cannot, a lease is not evidence. This is a D1 use variance. What is the particular suitability of this site to allow a use that is going to need 18 parking spaces? I don't want to, you can submit them, but I'm telling the board they are completely irrelevant. If you want to submit them, I'm not going to stop you from
Submit them,
submitting
by all
them.
means, submit them.
I'm not stopping you from submitting them. I'm just advising the board that they are irrelevant and should not be considered for use variance purposes. So it's up to you whether you want to submit them or not.
No, apparently it's up to you, sir.
It isn't. I'm telling you, you have a right to submit the leases if you would wish.
Would you accept them into evidence, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, yep.
Thank you. Can I give them to the board secretary and planning administrator? Where would you like them to go? Thank you. There's 2 copies.
We'll mark them in. There's 1 lease or 2 leases.
There are 2 leases.
And this is 2 copies of each one?
Yes.
We're gonna mark them in collectively as A7, the leases.
Okay.
Leases for vehicles.
Sir, I forgot your name. You have to excuse me.
It's Chris.
Your last
Mr. Rosati, I'm sorry.
Mr. Rosati. I should have.
Sorry, forgot the formalities.
Okay, so can you reiterate for me what conditions you would need to fulfill if you were going to seek approval for 18 spaces? You stated it when you began your testimony.
Sure.
Can you reiterate that?
Sure, and
Thank you.
so the question is, what would we need to do to make it a compliant parking lot, right? We would need to design a site plan to expand the access and driveway. My thought is it would come through the south of the building and maybe towards the back to get additional parking stalls, a double, a row of stalls along the south edge, a 24-foot wide cartway for two-way traffic.
Stormwater
Absolutely, 100%, because then we would be increasing our impervious surface, or we would be disturbing more than 5,000 square feet, so we would need Freehold Soil Conservation District approval. We are in a flood zone, so therefore we will need DEP, flood hazard approval, et cetera. So myriad approvals, including this board for site plan.
And are you adjacent to wetlands, or you are, can you point it out to me on your plan?
On the GIS mapping, there was no wetlands shown. However, we are very close to the Poplar Brook, which is probably classified as state open water, so no wetlands associated with it. On the colored rendering, the Poplar Brook.
Mr. Higgins, in the master plan, is that protected area?
The master plan,
I believe that we just revised like 2 years ago, but
I don't think the master plan addresses that issue.
The Poplar Brook is probably 200 feet or maybe 150 feet south of us. There's one lot that's to the south of us, which is lot 41, which is a township-owned vacant land. That southern boundary of that lot is the Poplar Brook. So it's adjacent, not right next door.
Okay, again, I'm gonna ask, let's let the applicant make the application and then give questions, okay? Because I told Anthony he can ask questions. And then you started asking questions, now he's punching me. So,
Well, let me
go ahead,
get
sir.
to some of the things that we have to get to. Is this site particularly well suited for the proposed use?
So,
Yes, he's a planner, professional licensed planner, for wherever that question came from. Thank you. And he's been accepted. Ms. Kripko.
so we have a two-prong, in my mind, a two-prong burden for the board to recognize and approve. One is the use component, commercial use in an R4 zone. The second component, as we've discussed in pretty good detail already, is getting the board comfortable with our parking requirement. So let's go to the use first, because it's, in my mind, the use, or the commercial use of this property is the easier of the lifts. Again, we're in the R4 medium density single family residential zone. We're bounded by vacant township-owned lots to the south, commercial use to the north. Across the street, we have more commercial uses. Overbrook Avenue is our eastern boundary. We're a one-story commercial structure with an appurtenant driveway and parking area. The site's the former place of business for, as we discussed, is King Saw since the early 60s. So it's been a commercial use for quite some time, longer than I've been alive. Again, we're looking at an adaptive reuse of the building and grounds for a satellite office for the iBuy distribution. The proposed use will be for office use only. Again, there'll be no retail sales, no customer interactions, no visitors aside from an occasional delivery of UPS or Amazon for office supplies, what have you. We talked about the existing conditions plan and the proposed concept parking layout with one ADA compliant spot and an additional spot. And again, that chosen layout was based on history of the site and historic use. So we're here for the first part is the D1 use variance to allow the office use within the R4 residential zone. We also talked about that 1988 resolution where it said, quote, the applicant agreed to permit his existing use to be classified and limited so that future occupants of the site will be restricted and require board approval if the use or intensity changes in any way. So we already discussed, in our opinion, it's a less intense use than what King Saw was because they had a retail component, et cetera, but it changes, so we are here for the D1. Being that we're going to 100% office. So the issue at hand is we have a commercial structure that's been here since the 60s. There are adjacent commercial uses north and east. The recent vacancy was not an abandonment of the previously approved commercial use, as it was obviously advertised as a commercial use for sale. Both the 1981 and 1988 zoning board resolutions found the site was particularly suited as a business use, even though it was also at the time in the R4 zone. So in The board in 1988 chose to add the condition that someone should come back, do any change. In my professional opinion, was so the board actually has some say in what's going to happen in the future. I find it hard to argue against allowing a commercial tenant to continue utilizing the site, since the commercial element of this end of the Overbrook Avenue has been established for quite some time. So again, we talked about before, the main issue of asking for favorable action of the board comes from assuring the board that the operation of the proposed office will not be a detriment to the neighborhood. It has been noted by your board planner that the main issue of the operational questions is the parking, which we've discussed, and we will, of course, in a little bit more. Again, we talked about the ordinances 18, where we're only supplying per the exhibit 8, per what my testimony is 10. The applicant understands that should the board act favorably, we would have to delineate those parking stalls via striping and or some other fashion, being that we have to the south area of a gravel area. Our idea is to do grass pavers where you can put at grade markings for the parking stalls. We can't paint the gravel area. Obviously, it wouldn't last long at all. We talked about the why, in our opinion, 8 spaces are adequate. The main reason, with one of the big arguments, was that we do have the valet service. While the ordinance does require the parking based on gross flare area, we did the breakdown where, in my opinion, that I think 12 or 10 would work. And this building was chosen due to its location, not its size. So we talked about, we have some employees that live in the area. So the fact of the matter is that the 2,000 some odd square feet of office that I kind of showed the board real quick, aside from all the other areas, it fits the needs of the business, with the added benefit of maybe having some nicer amenity areas for the employees and an ample room for storage of the business.
Let me ask.
Yes.
Where's the nearest conforming property in the R4 zone? Is it anywhere nearby?
It's probably 2 lots to the north.
Okay. And could this property be easily adapted, reasonably adapted to conforming in this zone?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah. So, without hardship to the applicant, could this property be converted to an R4 structure?
Well, the hardship is the question, right? It would have to be conforming. It would have to take down that building and
Make it a home and then
make
sell
it a home
surrounded by
in
other
compliance.
commercial properties.
Correct.
Can I just, I don't think anyone is disputing that this site is particularly suited for a commercial use. It's been a commercial use since 1981. That's not the issue.
Well,
So talking about whether it could be transferred back to a residential use, I don't think anyone's even remotely suggesting that you need to do that. Yeah, as you said, that's the easy part of this application, is establishing the fact that it's particularly suited for a commercial use. We get that. Okay, it's been that for when he started in 3rd grade. So we understand. Great, whatever. But the reality is, at this point, the question is whether it's particularly suited for this use, which is not necessarily a commercial. We understand commercial, but there are different levels of commercial. And this decision, if you read these earlier resolutions, is very, very specific that the commercial use being described based upon the number of employees that were going to be there, based upon the activity within the building, that this was conducive to that and was particularly suited, and that's what the board found. So the question is now, this business, is this site particularly suited for this business? And I think that's what the question is. And Jim, I just ask you, as the planner, am I phrasing this correctly?
Yes.
All right, so you agree. So if we can just move over to that, rather than start, we don't need to talk about converting it to residential. I know you were asked the questions, so you were just answering it,
Right.
but I don't think it's relevant, because we'll all concede it's particularly suited for commercial.
right. So what I was discussing is, in the review letters, we had, in my opinion, like I said, we had 2 burdens of proof. One, to show that the business use continuing the business use in this area makes some sense, and I don't believe there's really any argument to that. And as I said, the second portion of that is to make the board comfortable with the parking issue. In my mind, that's the main issue. I don't, I think what we discussed with the use, and I can go on and to get the testimony on the record as far as what purposes it's advancing through favorable action, aside from somewhat or site plan issue of the parking.
I think what we're hearing is, there's more or less a stipulation as to the use, the positive and negative criteria. The real question is parking.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That's a big part of the question.
It's a part of the question, but it's very commercial in general. There are different levels of commercial that one could have envisioned. The commercial use described in the 1981 resolution is very specific as to what that use is. In 1988, they're very specific that all we're doing is adding storage to the site, so we're not increasing anything from our 5 employees, or I don't want to misquote it, but it basically is extremely limited. So we understand it's particularly suitable for that particular use at that time. In 1988, they realized we want to make sure that it's clear that we're not saying that this is good for any commercial use. The McDonald's couldn't go and just put itself there because that's a commercial use. It wouldn't be necessarily, it doesn't say McDonald's, but I think that's basically the impression. So we want to make sure that if anyone else ever goes in here, the board comes back, because we're not just opening this door forever for anyone to come in and do any type of commercial use they feel like doing. That is the limitation that's in that 1988 resolution.
Yeah, and the other issue is the operation. You know, what is the operation going to be?
Right.
And you've already stated it's 24/7. And
Not at this
No.
site.
What?
Not at this site, Mr. Higgins.
Oh, okay. You said before 24/7, so I assume.
With our 150 employees in the billion-dollar industry, it's a 24/7 operation. This is the back end. This is the billing office and some record storage. That's what's happening here.
This is a 9 to 5 operation,
9
basically.
to 5 operation.
9 to 5,
8
Monday to
4.
Friday.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing I think though is, that's important, is the ordinance for retail space, which the saw shop had, is 1 space per 150 square feet of area. It's a more intensive use. If you add up the space that was authorized for retail and service, they needed 25 or 26 spaces. They got 8. We're not having customers
No.
come and go.
They also had specific testimony as to the nature of the use and what was going to occur there. And the resolution says that they had to comply with what that testimony was. I was 42 years old.
I know,
And
Mr.
I
Higgins.
actually was the planner at
You're
the time
getting
of that
getting your saws sharpened over at King's
So,
Corner.
so the tool shop was large, a lot of storage space. They said they'd have, was it 5 workers?
Yeah.
Okay.
It says 4.
4?
The 88 resolution says the applicant has only 4 employees, and his type of business and off-road location do not lend to much customer
Yeah.
traffic.
So the board decided 4 employees plus a number of spots for people to come buy something made sense.
Correct.
And so now, it may make sense to only have 8 spots if everybody's getting vanned in. But if a consulting group comes in next and they're not vanning people in, we will have okayed a spot for 18 people or maybe more with only 8 spots. So we have to figure out what to do with that, right?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
What we would also be willing to offer is, as much as we don't want to, is to accept the limitation on the employee number so that we can get approval and come back with our site plan. Because our real goal is to just get this open and not sitting fallow while we're waiting for the approval. And you can enforce that through site visit. You can come down and see how many people are there, and if we're in violation, you can fine us, and you could revoke our business registration certificate, and shut us down.
Well, I have another question or a possibility, and our experts can tell me I'm crazy. But what if we approved the ability to park cars in, valet style, so that if there was 9 cars there, one car could be double parked or something like that? Since it's not people coming and going, it's people working from 9 to 5 or whatever the case is. Attendant parking, yeah. Is that something that we could do?
From a planning standpoint, you can do it. Whether it's gonna work or not, I don't know. I know it's gonna make Colleen very happy.
Can we swear Colleen in?
From an engineering standpoint, there's not really an engineering component to that, but I think that's hard to enforce. You'd have to have somebody monitor, whether or not that's being done.
I think one of the problems with this application, again, and Mr. Higgins, correct me if I'm wrong, is that what we're doing is we're trying to make this site work for them, rather than them telling us why this site is particularly suitable for them, which is what the standard is. The standard isn't, we have this site, so we're gonna do everything we possibly can to try to fit in there. That's not the standard. Correct, Mr. Higgins?
Yes.
You wanna go over the planning criteria so we can sort of move forward?
Well, they have to demonstrate that the site is particularly suited to the use that they're proposing. And part of the problem is, they want something now and something later, but they want approval for the something later now. And so I'm not, as a planner, I'm not quite sure what they're proposing either. I haven't heard what exactly, like, I heard initially it was 24/7, and that's just the overall business, that's not this site. And this could be 5 days a week, and how
Alan's
many?
sworn, can we take some testimony from Alan very quickly, just to get his on the record while
Well,
we're here, and then if we
I
have to.
don't know if we wanna take it very quickly, I think we wanna, I
Yeah,
think the
how-
board needs to
What time
know
did we start?
exactly what is being proposed.
How deep are we into the time?
Okay.
Can I ask a question, please? This driving, carpooling, is it a mandatory policy or is it optional?
I don't know that answer.
It's not that it's mandatory, it's that we do it to help.
So there's no guarantee that people are gonna do it.
We're not common, there's no parking, it's not like, we can also do it like a range, that's some people go to Somerset, like, it's just, I prefer, like, if there are local employees here, not to have to drive an hour each way,
So the vans that the leasing agreements, they're for specifically this location?
It's for, yeah, picking up the employees, taking them to work, they will be parked at
For
the job.
Ocean Township?
It will be for
They're not for the other facilities?
Being used to pick up the employees and bring them to Somerset.
Okay, so,
I will pick them up and they will be parked, you guys can come do the inspections if you
no, but my point is, if I'm a resident in Ocean Township, no, I know that.
You are.
Yes, that was my point, that I'm a resident of Ocean Township. No, my point is, I get the fact that if you're going to Somerset from Ocean Township, it makes sense to use this shuttle. If I'm a resident in Ocean Township, I live around the corner, I don't need let me finish. I don't need a shuttle. I wanna go to the doctor's office at lunch. I wanna go get to the grocery store, the liquor store, or someplace. I'm not. Sorry. But my kids. It's Halloween, and my kids have a parade, and all the people working there have kids. They're all gonna drive there that day so they can go see their kids. I mean, you can't guarantee that.
Which is exactly why the parking standards exist.
I was gonna echo that in the fact that,
Some of them are even within walking distance of the location.
and the,
They're not even gonna, like, opt in.
But that's today too.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what we have to figure out.
I mean, that's the
and
problem.
the
I have with
drivers of the
this. I mean, you
vans
can't
stay at the
guarantee.
facility all day?
I'm sorry?
The drivers stay at the facility all day?
Who drives the vans?
I actually have to use one of them.
But it's not, again, it's not gonna stay that way.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no,
And
I'm
you
just
can't. These
curious.
plans, as you can tell, this plan was originally approved, the original, in 1981. And it's now, and then 1988, those are a long time ago. And these things run with the land. If they wanted to continue running the business that was started in 1981, they could continue to do so today. If they wanted to do what was approved in 1988, they could do that today. So these are long-range plans. Some of us might not even be alive in 20 years, or
So-
30 years.
So it sounds like if we require the additional parking, the site itself has to shut down for 12 to 18 months? Is that correct?
If you require the additional parking today, we cannot open. We cannot get a business registration certificate until we get zoning approval. All the construction, by the way, that was previously done has all been approved. It's all been completed. It's all been satisfactory. The fire official was very happy. The construction official has given all the approvals.
Alright, but let me, but what I'm trying to say though is,
Are
what
all
I'm,
the workstations completed?
Well, they were removed. The number of workstations that were there, by the way, what was shown is where?
well, hold on, let me finish real quick, right? So, we require additional parking, site can't be used 12 to 18 months. This is for expansion, and all these employees are in Ocean Township, they go to Somerset now. Why can't they go to Somerset for 12 more months?
Well, they could, but we bought a property, we're paying for it, we'd like to use it.
I understand that, but there's a parking requirement.
There is, and by the way.
And you said in the future, you're gonna meet that requirement.
We plan to.
So I would
Well,
say
if
meet
you
it
give
now
us
then,
approval.
because you have the employees do have an area to work, so we're not stunting your business.
And remember, the problem was why I started with the history lesson, was when we bought the property, we did our due diligence, we did our OPA request, and this 88 resolution was missing.
But per Ms. Littman, that's your issue with the seller.
Right, your recourse.
And it's not, this board can't take into consideration that you did not get all the information when you bought the property.
My point is, when we purchased the property,
Yes.
we purchased it without knowledge of the restriction
Understood.
on the zone, as to the SAW. It was for commercial use, office space, spots approved, where 18 were required, the exact same that the ordinance requires of us.
Right, but now you know what exists, so
And
let's
that's-
work within the
That's
confines
why
of the
we're,
problem.
that's
and
why
what
we're here,
aware
madam.
of.
That's
So,
why we're here.
I would be much more inclined to approve this, as you were saying, if, have your employees continue to go to Somerset since we're not stunting your business. I would like the stormwater report, I would like to see if DEP is going to approve the 18 spaces. I would like a design plan, I would like to see the approval and all the required, authorizations as discussed, and then we can revisit this.
Could we not receive approval for our 8 employees, limited, so that we can at least have business operational with those 8 spots?
Not from me, not, because of the reasons I just explained, I will not approve it.
And I know you guys against these leasing documents, this and that, but if I brought in proof, every single, and you guys can revoke our business license if you didn't have it, proof that we were leasing every single year, I would bring it to you guys just to show it, would that help the situation?
No, because let's say, for some reason, in 12 or 14 months, you're not approved for the 18 spaces. Therein lies the problem.
My concern is that you're not guaranteeing that everybody's gonna take the van. I mean,
I can mandate it within the company. And I don't have to hire people and this and that. My goal is to keep the local employees here from driving an hour each way.
Okay, we're well over. I'm sorry to cut you off. Do you have a question now, or do you want to wait till next time? Or? Okay. All right, so I think we have to carry this. My suggestion is to maybe talk with our experts and see what alternatives you have here. You kind of know what you're up against, I think. But what do? We carry to the May meeting?
We have a couple problems, because this board ceases to exist after the June meeting. And
You're a
Oh,
joint-
that's right.
joint board?
we're going to become one as of July. And what is so I'm being told already from the, and I don't know this, but I'm being told from the previous application, Ms. Krimko's, that we adjourned, that the May agenda is
Yeah.
completely stacked. Okay.
Here's what we could do, though. We could put this on the May agenda, and with the expectation that we are going to then announce something new about it, right?
But you're not going to be here in May. I'm going to advise the
This
audience.
would be a
I
punt,
understand. I am going to
right?
advise the audience. You cannot speak from the audience. Thank you. All right. So I'm sorry, Mr. Fuller. So your idea is what? That we carry it to May, and then
We
we're
have
going to carry it
we
again
have
after that.
We have a few weeks to figure out what we're going to be doing.
I mean, perhaps we could submit a revised, in other words, Mr. Chairman, I'm just speaking out loud some thought. We have an 88 resolution. That 88 resolution special conditions to this property. You're bound to this number of spots, you're gonna have this number of employees, and if you make any changes, you have to come back to the board. We would ask for the same consideration, just to get operational. Certain number of employees, certain number of spots, any changes, increase or decrease, you come back to the board. I can talk to Mr. Higgins about that, talk to Mr. Matlack about that, see if there's any thoughts as to whether or not I don't think from an engineering perspective it's gonna make much of a difference, but from a planning perspective, does that work? Revise our application, come
Guys,
back with some-
one second. So the audience talking, please stop. You would not like it if someone was doing it to you. Okay? Thank you. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
You like the idea of carrying to May?
Yes.
And talking with, okay. I don't
That's
expect
what we're
we'll be
doing.
able to hear it in May,
I don't either.
but
How's that gonna work?
it's basically giving them a month to figure out what to do, and we're not voting on it right now. Because we're not gonna vote on it right
So
now,
will
are
they
we?
have to restart this whole application again all over?
That's not for us to decide right now. I'm totally punting this to be able to figure those details out,
No, we
because it's
wouldn't
not
have to
something we
restart-
can solve for right now.
So they wouldn't have to restart their testimony, but they would have to provide additional testimony
Or
as to
evidence.
what they are putting in. My personal recommendation to you is that you design your site plan and you come in and you I understand you don't want to, but my sincere suggestion is design your site plan, come in and present your site plan.
I agree.
Potentially ask for phasing. I don't know.
I was gonna say
But
two-step.
but there are different ideas you could do, and maybe that's what you should figure out.
Okay.
So maybe come back for June, carry it to June. We can give you.
Yeah, there's no way you're being heard in May. I don't know what the point would be. I mean, you could do it, but we're being told, I haven't seen the schedule, Chairman, but I'm being told definitively that you're not getting on in May.
I don't get to set the schedule. You tell me when to come back. You know, you're asking me to give time. I'm not going to not give you the time that you need, because I know where this is going if I don't do that today.
You might need some time to design the site plan. If that's what you're gonna do.
If we decide to have a special meeting, I'd ask that you consider adding us to that agenda.
It'll be considered.
And denied.
So
We will not be having a special meeting.
what is the June date again? John, are you okay with June then?
Yeah, I'm just trying to give them
No, I
time.
understand. I just don't think there's any chance it's gonna happen.
No, I
Fine.
didn't think so.
We would consent to whatever time notice. is
But that's June.
We would just ask for, that the announcement be made today
We
from the
will.
dais, and therefore, I don't know if anybody's here from the public on this anyway, but
June 17th, right?
Yeah, so this will be carried to June 17th with no notice required.
Okay, so if anyone's here, whether they're here or not, I'm gonna make the announcement anyway. This application is being carried to the June 17th, 2026 meeting. It is a Wednesday, not a Thursday, at 7 p.m. If you want to be heard on the application, please be present in the room at that time. The applicant might very well be submitting new exhibits. If so, they have to be in at least 10 days in advance, so make sure that you check with the board secretary if you're interested in those plans. You will not receive any further notice.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Next up, 149 Chatham LLC, 149 Chatham Avenue, Block 25.05, Lot 6. If you didn't ask so many questions, we would have been onto this case already.
Yeah,
Did I say
they're
that?
gonna have to.
That was a mistake.
Making us up as you go along, I had to ask questions.
My presumption will be that at least some of the board members will be on the planning board. That's my guess.
Not it.
I don't know who, but that's my guess. That's usually what happens.
Not it. Depends on how much my paycheck goes up.
We're all applied for 2 meetings a month.
We're doing 149 Chatham?
All right, so
I can tell you that the next two are undersized lots, everything conforms except for stairs, so it should be quick. So,
except for the fact that you do have public still here, and I
okay,
don't know.
they might have questions,
yeah.
maybe they just wanted to see the plans.
Do we want to, Mr. Chairman, do you want to set the ground rules for the remainder of the evening then? Because it is 9:45. I'm not telling you not to proceed. I'm just trying to get an idea of what we're gonna do. So everyone's on
We're
the
gonna
same
hear
page.
these two cases. and
Okay.
Get done with them. Let's go.
Okay, thank you, we're on 149?
Yep.
Okay, Jennifer Krimko on behalf of the applicant.
All right, we have the following exhibits. A1 will be the variance plan. A2 A2 will be the boundary and topographic survey. A3 will be the architectural plan. A4 will be the plot plan. And then we have the following board exhibits. B1 will be the zoning officer's report. B2 will be the board planner's report. And B3 will be the board engineer's report.
And then A5 will be the neighborhood exhibit, and A6 will be the plot plan exhibit, and I'll hand them and ask you to pass down, and then that way, in the meantime, we can have Pat sworn in.
Mr. Ward, do you swear any testimony you're going to give this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And you're still a licensed planner and an engineer in the state of New Jersey, and your license is still in good standing?
Yes, they are.
Thank you.
Pat, if you could, without the fanfare perhaps that we did on the other one, walk the board through, that's one of them, what's existing and what's proposed, and let's try and limit to what the variances are and what the justifications are.
Yeah, so subject property is 149 Chatham. We're seeking to demolish all existing improvements to build a new two and a half story dwelling, driveway, and rear yard pool and patio. So today, there's an existing home on the property that really is significantly non-conforming in terms of the front yard setback. It's about 15.1 feet from the front and 9.5 feet to the steps. Very forward on the property. There's a driveway on the right side to a detached garage and a small shed at the rear. The subject property is unique today, just really in terms of topography, which I'll get to why I'm saying this when we talk about what we're proposing, but the house is here towards the right side of the property. This part of the property is level with the street. This left side of the property actually dips down onto our adjacent lot 5 to the north, about over 3 feet. And it's about 3 feet lower than the street. So what are we doing? We're proposing to remove all existing site improvements and proposing a new 2.5 story dwelling. We're proposing a fully compliant circular driveway in the front yard, which will provide the required number of parking spaces per RSIS and Township ordinance. Along the left side is mechanical equipment and 2 window wells. Along the right side is a walkway to the rear, which is has a compliant pool and patio proposed.
And just the mechanical equipment and the window wells, they comply with the side yard setback for a single side, correct?
They do for a single side, yeah.
Okay.
They're at least 12 feet off. There will be some tree removal for the project, but we're seeking to comply with the township tree removal and replacement ordinance. So we strove to maintain existing topographic conditions, considering that low spot I mentioned on the north property line, but we did make some changes that result in the maximum grade change of about 3.12 feet in a very small area of the driveway, and I'm pointing to that here, really at the front left part of the home.
But Pat, we're just leveling out the site, really. We're not raising it. We're not proposing any walls.
Yeah, so, and really, the site today all drains to the left, to this adjacent lot. What we're proposing to do is take all the hardscape, roof, patio, and the driveway and send direct towards the street. In order to grade the driveway so it all goes to the street and not our neighbor, we have to increase that grade.
The house itself.
Yep.
Does the house itself conform to the front, rear, and side yard setbacks?
It does, yes.
Okay. And the only thing that intrudes in the front yard setback is 1.42 feet of a step.
The front yard is a little less than that, actually. It's 6 inches of a step. Goes into the front.
Well, I don't know what to tell you because your testimony says something else. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. They're so
Gotcha.
similar. I apologize.
Yeah, so it's half of an uncovered step. You could see that on the rendering in front of you. Encroaches in the front. And then in the back, it's 1.5 of the steps.
Okay, and the pool complies, the pool equipment complies,
Yep.
all of that applies?
Yep.
And the only thing with the house, other than that, is the combined side yard doesn't comply because of the window well only.
Correct, which will be at grade.
Right.
But yes, that's it. Otherwise, single sides, single rear, single front, all comply.
Okay, and we did, and I shared it with Mark, we did make an offer to the neighbor to see if we could buy more of his property because it's larger and it's vacant, and he replied that no, he likes his side yard and good luck on our application. So he was not willing to sell it. We could have bought it and made all of this go away, but unfortunately, he wasn't willing to sell it. And we can stipulate to that, and it is part of the record because I submitted it to your planning director via email.
You wanna mark that in? just
We
for
can,
the-
I was
We'll
trying
mark
to
it as-
expedite.
I know, but we might as well mark it in, I think it's probably smart.
Okay.
What's the
property-
you have the email, what
I
date
do,
is?
I have copies for everybody too.
Property to the left you're talking about?
Yeah, the property left is oversized by 30 feet. We offered to buy 20, so we both be fully conforming, and he said no. And just for the record, to read it, I offered it, and he wrote, "Hey Jen, thanks for reaching out. We like our side yard and wouldn't want to give it up. Good luck at the hearing tonight. We're excited to see what they build there. Thanks, Isaac Nasser." I can tell you that he is the principal of Dumont Holdings because I represent Dumont Holdings, and I'm the one who consolidated his lots for him.
And he wouldn't give you 10 feet.
No, we'd need 20.
Or 20 feet. He wouldn't give you 20 feet.
That's his prerogative.
Again, we have to ask, we can't make him. So that would be a
A7.
A7. But again, the only thing that intrudes in that side yard is a window well. Everything else complies.
Right.
Was there anything in the review letters that we took exception to?
No,
So we could comply with the review letters?
absolutely.
So at this point, I'd open them for questions for the public, if there are any.
And Mr. Chairman, if I can make a recommendation, just let people ask questions and give statements. It's so much easier.
Yeah. Any questions? Sorry.
I got you.
What is the microphone stuff? Wow. Mr. Higgins, you have any questions?
No.
Mr. Matlock?
No, I had a few points in my review letter, and they've agreed to comply with them, so I'm fine with that.
Any questions from the public? Any comments from the public?
Seeing that we made every effort we possibly could to comply, and the encroachments have nothing to do with the house itself, and we're under in coverage and building coverage, we'd ask that you please vote in favor. Excuse me, subject to us complying with Ben's letter as stipulated.
Motion for positive resolution.
I'll second.
Mr. Ashkenazi?
Yes.
Mr. Delomo?
Yes.
Mr. Chimura?
Yes.
Ms. Lippman? Mr. Fujielli?
Yes.
Vice Chairman DeGenaro?
Yes.
Chairman Fuller?
Yes.
The next one's gonna sound an awful lot like this one, but
Okay.
even less encroachment.
We have Mark Sitt, 508 Palmer Avenue, Block 62, Lot 12, in the R5 zone.
All right, so
Again, Jennifer Krimko on behalf of the applicant.
All right, we have the following exhibits. A1 will be the
Yes.
variance application. A2 will be the topographic survey. A3 will be the architectural plan. A4 will be the plot
Just
plan.
one.
I'm presuming there's going to be an A5, which is going to be a neighborhood aerial.
Yes, well, no,
And-
we don't even need that one, we'll just move in the A5 is just gonna be the plot plan exhibit.
A5 is the plot plan exhibits. We're not doing a neighborhood area.
No, it's not.
Plot plan exhibit, okay. And then I have the following board exhibits. B1 will be the zoning officer's letter. B2 will be the board planner's report, and B3 will be the board engineer's report.
Did you want a copy of that, sir? Yes, please. Here.
A5 is the plot plan exhibit, yes.
Thank you.
I assume that was yours, not my girlfriend.
Thank you, Colleen.
Oh, that's nice.
And would you like me to swear in Mr. Ward?
Yes, please.
Mr. Ward, do you swear in testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And just state your name for the record,
Patrick Ward, WRD with Inside Engineering, licensed engineer and planner.
and your licenses are still in good standing in the state of New Jersey?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so Pat, I'm gonna go through this really quickly. We have an undersized lot, 5,095 or 7,500 is required, and width of 50 or 75.
Yes.
And the existing front yard setback is deficient. No, I'm sorry, and, we're proposing again to demolish and construct a new single-family home.
Correct.
And other than the lot variances, the only variances we need are with regard to the steps in the front and the steps in the rear. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And the existing house is set back 12.7 feet from the front, and we're setting ours back to the stairs 28.56.
28.56, yep.
And we're willing to, and no other variances, no window wells, no air conditioning units?
Coverage, everything works.
Yep. Okay. And we're willing to comply with any suggestions in, Mr. Matlack's letter?
Correct.
Does the board have any questions?
How many bedrooms is it?
Yeah, I had a question on number of bedrooms.
Oh. There's three.
It's 3, it was
Three bedrooms.
mislabeled.
I thought so, but I just wanted to.
What happened was there were more, and because of the parking,
Yeah.
I had suggested that that's a no-go, so one of the bedrooms was actually eliminated.
And how many parking spaces are you proposing?
Two.
Two.
Two spaces, okay. Thank you.
And complying with
And we will
RSIS.
comply
Of course.
with right voices with the drive.
Any questions? Mr. Higgins, any questions? Mr. Mallon? Any questions from the public?
Sir,
Come
I'm
on
just
up.
gonna swear you in also, come on up. Do you swearing testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And just state your name for the record.
Richard Bantel,
Could you spell the last name?
B as in boy, A-N-T-E-L,
And your address, sir?
506 Palmer Avenue, West Allen.
So you're right next door,
Yes.
Could you just show on the drawing?
right or left?
This house.
Left.
Okay.
A lovely home.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, it was on here, it says architectural plans do not show any type of screening. What does that mean?
Oh, there's gonna be mechanical equipment on the roof.
Right.
And we are going to screen it, we agreed to screen it.
So that means there'll be a screen around it?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, and it'll be lower than than the top of the roof line.
Okay.
It's not you're not gonna stick it on the peak of the roof,
Right.
it's gonna be lower than that.
Okay. At first, we were concerned that there would be a party deck up on the 3rd floor.
No, no
Okay.
deck.
All right, that was it.
I wish you would've called me, I would've helped you from the torture of, sitting here all night with
Wait, I want that on the record, use the microphone.
Only 2 more shows, so.
That was fabulous.
Any other questions from the public? Any comments from the public? Okay, so no questions from the board, right?
Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Make a motion for a positive resolution.
Second.
Yes.
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 Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
He didn't even let you give your closing statement, by the way. He went right to a positive resolution.
I said that's all I got.
Oh, right. Okay.
What am I gonna say? Please, pretty please?
Oh, yeah, we have to adjourn. Any motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
A second. All in favor?
Aye.